Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Okay, then welcome everybody to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 662. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hey, Nick.
God, I hate you so much. So much. Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Davis.
Hello.
We've got
too.
This is gonna be a clusterfuck. I'll figure it out though. I'll fix it all in post. Don't worry about it. But guys, we have a jam-packed show tonight. Last week when we talked, we had just got our hands on our PlayStation 5s, like literally hours before we recorded. Now we've had a whole week with the system, along with a ton of the launch games. So we have a full dock tonight, full of new games that we haven't really talked about yet, including Spider-Man Miles Morales, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Sackboy, Demon Souls, all kinds of shit. So right up front, right out of the gate, I want to be up front and say there's a chance we may not have time for viewer questions or supporter questions, but we'll have to play it by ear. Also, I want to mention that next week is Thanksgiving. So just a heads up, if you're used to listening to the show, we might not record an actual podcast next week, and instead we might opt to do a Phasmophobia night again.
There's only one problem with that.
What?
It's going to throw off our 666 episode being on Christmas week.
Yeah, well.
That is really literally only a big deal to Chris Davis, I think.
I think that'd be a great thing.
We could skip one and just pretend like make it an episode that doesn't exist.
Let's just record a 5-minute 665 episode.
There we go. Or we can literally record a podcast while we're playing Phasmophobia and release it, and it would just be just the most amazing clusterfuck of a podcast ever.
No, we could not do that because people would end up in car accidents. Because Brad would scream because a ghost got him, and there will be an accident.
That's probably true. I thought you were talking about us being in car accidents. Like, first of all, I don't know how you're planning on playing Phasmophobia, but that's not how it works.
Like, are you trying to kill Krita? Like, that's how you kill Krita.
I'm not trying to kill anybody, especially anybody in our lovely community. So, anyways, let's not waste any more time. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. I think we decided we were going to start with Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Or if you're in Europe, Spider-Man Kilometers Morales. Featuring Peter Parker.
That's the second time I've heard you make that joke this week. You've been dying to do it, I can tell. All right. Let's start with Spider-Man Miles Morales. I know myself and Nolan both finished it. Brad's dabbled in it, right? I'm not sure if
very small dabble. Man,
Brad, you played the original one, right? On the PS4?
Yeah, I played through that.
Imagine that, but also with a really good story too. I'm not saying the first one didn't have a good story.
Okay, I was like, all right, because that first game also had a pretty awesome story.
I would say that like this is very much akin to Lost Legacy, the Uncharted kind of standalone game, where it features characters from that other game, but is a really tight, fairly compact story.
But you know what? I'm going to be honest. Like, people were making that kind of comparison prior, and nobody really knew what it meant or what to expect. Some people were like, is this like a 4-hour game? Is this like a 12-hour game? What is this? Is this even really a full game? That conversation was happening in some places on the internet. But like, having played it, I spent it. I don't know about you, Nolan. I think you told me, but like, it took me 16 hours to finish this game.
That's probably about the same for me. Yeah,
16 hours. Did you do everything?
I didn't do everything, but I did a lot. I did like all the big side quest stuff that was really interesting.
Are you interested in how long to beat?
Yeah, sure.
They say main story is 7 hours. Main plus extras is 10.5. Completion is 16.
The story. So that depends, Brad. So it depends on how if you are finishing a story mission and then just going to the next story mission and then collecting everything along the way, or you can maybe exploring the world a little bit, stopping every once in a while, checking some stuff out. Yeah. We kind of briefly talked about it in Discord, that one of the great things about Miles Morales is it is literally the exact same map from the original Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man on the PS4, but it is like fucking Christmas time. So everything is snowy and there's a bunch of Christmas stuff. So it's honestly just really nice to kind of just explore the city and hang out. And not to mention the fact that the enhancements on the PS5 just make the world so much more vibrant compared to on the PS4. There's
it's a really impressive, technically speaking. I mean, I thought the original Spider-Man was a technically impressive game.
It
looked
was
great. Playing this actually makes me more interested in playing the remastered version of Spider-Man, just because I want to see that story kind of recreate. Because like I think like this game has some incredible, facial technology and all that stuff. That kind of trumps the original in a lot of ways. But you're right. Like the city is the same, but it just looks crisper, nicer, and it has all that Christmas stuff going for it. There's a giant gingerbread house in the middle of one of those plazas and stuff. Just lots of little stuff like that. I know, Brad, you had asked about like what kinds of Christmas stuff was in the game. I know you were you looking for like a Christmas experience or something already?
I mean, I wasn't. I was like, well, because Malia's super big into Christmas. Maybe she'd want to watch some of this if there was kind of Christmassy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, it feels a little bit to me like they chose to go with the Christmas theme, mostly because of the snow and because it's just a really great way of kind of showing off the tech of the PS5 because it is
that and the issue of it needing to be in New York City again,
a little bit different
because it's Spider-Man, but because this is built on top of the last game, right? It's not going to be a whole new city. So that was a way to make it feel a little different.
Yeah,
and in that sense, it succeeds.
To it. Oh yeah, it definitely does.
Succeeds.
Like I was never really playing this, and I didn't really feel like, oh, I'm just playing the original Spider-Man game with a different character, blah blah blah. Now maybe if you had never played that and you play that and this back to back, you might get that feeling a little bit. But since I had not played the original game since it came out, it did not feel like I was just playing extra stuff in that original game. It honestly felt like a fairly good standalone.
And I think a lot of that is, I mean, a lot of the extra stuff, like the crimes and stuff, feel maybe a little bit more fleshed out, which is nice. But like, I think a lot of it is just kind of attributed to the story. Like you said, Nolan is just really good, and Miles as a character and kind of like his the situation he finds himself in this game.
I will say that I was shockingly surprised at how much I enjoyed the story and the characters that they added in this. Like, I did not expect to enjoy it as much.
I had low expectations because I didn't think the Tinkerer was an interesting choice for a villain.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? In the grand scheme of things, the reason that villain is compelling has really nothing to do with the fact that this person is the Tinkerer. Like the Tinkerer itself is not like Dr. Octopus. Like, oh, it's Dr. Octopus, but like the personal story and the personal.
I would say, yeah, that's for sure. But I mean, I would say similarly to the original game, that tried to expand on, the relationship, and not to get into spoilers of the original game, but of Doc Ock and Peter. This game kind of has a similar route, but I don't want to say it's done better, but I do feel like, I don't know. I don't want to get into spoilers, but I really enjoyed
there are certainly spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into them.
There are spoilers. Are there parts where you have to play as a non-superhero man or woman?
No stealth sequences where you are only Spider-Man in this game, or also known as the other.
I mean, okay, sorry. There are a few moments where you go back to his apartment and you're walking around his apartment as Miles. Yeah. So like, but you're not sneaking around like Mary Jane and Spider-Man
in this game.
Right.
Okay. But it's not like a bad stealth sequence, right?
No. It's literally just walking around, interacting, talking to people in your apartment, that kind of thing, which is great. And those moments are actually quite.
So you think this story is better than the last games, or? See, because I thought I played through that last game and I enjoyed the story and it had great moments, but like I still think that a lot of that story. People talked about it so much, not because they think it was the next fucking BioShock or Last of Us, but more because like I really didn't expect a superhero game or a Spider-Man game, this game specifically, to have a really compelling story. Maybe a game from Insomniac to have a really compelling story, but it did. but I don't think it was winning like story of the war.
No. I mean, I don't think this like no. I don't think this is like gonna blow anyone's mind because it's the most original story. I think it just is a really convincing, compelling portrayal of the characters that we're already familiar with. Like I think this version of Peter Parker is really likable and really great, and the stuff he contributes in this game too is great. And Miles as as himself, and as he's like when he starts this game, how he is like really inexperienced but trying to kind of like pick up and learn stuff from Peter.
Well, like I said,
it's just like Into the Spider-Verse,
the other Spider-Man.
Okay, don't say it's like Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse is special.
No, it is special, but this game, I would be shocked if this game didn't draw inspiration from Into the Spider-Verse. Okay. And let me ask Nolan this, because as Nolan's finished this as well. Did you get the sense that at the beginning of the game, because actually Robin came in and was watching me play it when I was first starting the game, and like I'm swinging through the city, and he's like super aloof and like kind of like all over the place, like loosey-goosey, and I wasn't really paying super close attention at that point, I guess, but like towards the end of the game, Robin came in and she's like, is he swinging better than he was at the beginning of the game? Like, I don't know if like they subtly like slowly changed his swinging animations, but he was
surprised if they did.
He's doing like flips and stuff 10 minutes into the game.
I don't know. I mean, but like when he swings, like you'll let go and he'll just like flail around, and then by the end of the game, he's swinging it very much. It's almost like he suddenly mirrors the original.
I would
Peter
not
Parker
be surprised
swinging.
if as you level up in this game, you get experience, and you have greater health now, and you have greater this, blah blah blah. I would not be surprised if, along with those levels, they maybe did something that his animations maybe improved.
If they do, it's very subtle. But at the same time, I also bring in Spider-Verse because Spider-Verse was very much an origin story of Miles Morales and him learning how to become a more confident Spider-Man, and that's exactly what this game is. He does not feel very confident as a superhero. He kind of depends on Peter at the beginning, and by the end of this story, he has come into his own, and he is Spider-Man. And that is exactly what they were trying to do in Into the Spider-Verse, and
I want to be clear
here too.
I want to be clear. The only reason I'm pushing y'all on story a little bit is because I'm sort of on the fence about playing this, at least right now, because there's a lot of other stuff to play, and honestly, playing the game is not something. I mean, the Venom powers felt kind of cool to use from what I've gotten so far, but story would be the only reason I'd play this right now.
So that's fair. To Nick's point, what he brought up earlier is he brought up facial animations, and I would definitely agree that they are quite impressive. When you meet a character, and I happen to be live because I did broadcast some of this, and I happened to be live when you met that character, and I was like, this looks exactly like the character from The Leftovers. And that's because it is. It's an actress from that show. And I immediately recognized her because
I've watched The Leftovers. Which character are we talking about?
The neighbor's daughter that goes missing. That's Finn in this game. Not really. If you haven't seen the show, it's not a spoiler. And if you have seen the show, you just know who
I saw the first episode. I know why she went missing. A lot of people went missing.
Because she's from season 3 of that show.
You should watch that show. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is good. But anyway, I immediately recognized her. And yes, I will say that they did quite a good job with the animations and stuff. And so when there are cutscenes where it's a little more emotionally in depth, like it fucking feels like it. I thought they did a very good job. The very last 20 minutes of the game are pretty fucking intense.
Dude, the final action set piece of this game is fucking incredible.
It was great. I was impressed.
I was getting chills from top to just all I felt like I was I felt the same way I felt the first time I watched Spider-Man Homecoming, where he was
Homecoming.
I mean, dude, I
thought you were gonna say Spider-Verse.
I mean,
that's a pretty good movie, bro.
To be honest, I didn't say Spider-Verse because this is a shameful secret of mine. I've still only seen that movie once, and I own it. It is top of my priority list because we just got the home theater installed. That's one of the first movies I want to watch when we get our Blu-ray player and stuff hooked up.
That movie's good. I mean, honestly, I feel like I have a little chip on my shoulder against this game because of Spider-Verse. Does that make sense?
That's fine. That's fine.
But also, there's so much of this game that is, I think, just not even subtly, just kind of paying homage to that movie. I almost feel like this game almost may not exist if it weren't for the success of Into the Spider-Verse. And that's obviously me saying that with no background information or knowing anything about what's going on behind the scenes at Insomniac. That just seems to me like.
Have you all seen that meme? Hold on, real quick, Brad. because we were just talking about Into the Spider-Verse. You know how what's his face? Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, and Into the Spider-Verse is like a fucking giant like box with
the
head
Xbox
on him. Yeah, and someone put like Wilson Fisk's head on an Xbox.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
It looks exactly like him from the fucking movie.
I saw that.
All right, what's up?
Quick question. So because the story's really good, and because I probably don't really want to go fight more waves of dudes like I did, like all the side stuff in that last game, do you think this game is like a good one just to kind of beeline through the main story?
Sure.
I would say beeline to the main story and do the side mission. Some of the side missions are pretty good. I would say you
side mission that's
collectibles. There you have like an app in this game that's like someone asking for help. Not all of them are great, but some of them actually have pretty decent stories to them. So I would say as long as you do the side missions that are essentially like the little blue icons,
any side mission that comes
triangles, do those.
Any side mission that comes up that seems related when he starts talking about a character or a person that lives in his neighborhood, do those.
Yeah.
Those kind of play a bigger role, and they're better than most of the other side missions in the game. But
let's say I didn't do that. Let's say because I'm going to be thinking about side missions in Cyberpunk, which come on are going to be way better than this. Like,
sure,
if I am looking for like, man, I could get through this in 7 hours and have a good time. This is
you would have a good time, Brad.
You would have a good time
about it. Is as soon as you finish the game, the world is still open, and if you want to go and do those other side quests later, you can still do them, or if you want to ignore them and never do them, you can do it. I would say the main story of this game is worth it.
Okay. I said this on Twitter, and I stand by it. Like, even if you don't do all the side stuff, if you play this game, you'll still come out the other side feeling like this might be one of the best Spider-Man movies I've ever seen. Like, outside of Into the Spider-Verse, maybe, if that, I'm just saying, like, it's an incredible story. It's an incredible Spider-Man story. And if you liked the story of the first game, it like kind of builds and adds to that perfectly. And if you've played the first one, this won't be a spoiler, because if you've played the first one and you know kind of the tease they do at the end, like the post-credit scene or whatever, that they double down on it at the end of this. So it's kind of just like it gets you ready, like you definitely know now, like
there's a Spider-Man 2
coming,
and it's gonna be fucking good.
Yeah. So you know what? Boyd Cooper's right. He said Nick's seen Spider-Man 2, right? Sorry. When I said I got chills during that last sequence, I would say I got chills the way I felt the first time I saw the train sequence with Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2. That scene still gives me chills when I watch it. It's incredible.
Probably looks like shit these days, though, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say it looks like shit. I've watched it fairly recently, but
Brad,
yeah, I mean, it's showing its age a little bit. That final set piece of this game reminded me a lot of
it's good.
the train sequence in Spider-Man 2. So it's so good. Okay, let's move on. I don't know where we want to go next. Let's bounce all around here. Brad, do you want to talk about Sackboy?
Sure. I mean, that's a weird thing to bounce to because I know no one cares about this game. Like days after it came out, probably like Monday after the launch of the PS5 and Sackboy, I typed in video review, Sackboy video review into YouTube and found like one video review for Sackboy. And I was like, what the fuck is happening here? This is unfortunate. Weird. And I clicked on it and it was like guy like in his Sackboy. I mean, it wasn't like a professional outfit. It was just a dude.
It wasn't like us.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Speaking of professional, I forgot to set the scene up, so I'm going to do it right now.
Cool.
So, like, yeah, this is definitely the one that no one really seems to care about for the launch of the PS5, which is
Sackboy looks good.
Yeah, Sackboy looks cool.
He's working on it. He's working on it.
I'm working on it. There you go.
Okay. It is going to come. The video footage is going to come up during this conversation, right?
Yes, it's up now.
Oh, okay. Sackboy. Hey, I don't know. I mean, look, Little Big Planet 2. Those are really hyped games. I love those games. Gary Sinise, but Little Big Planet 3 was farmed out to a different studio, and no one really cared about that one, even though I hear it was okay. This is the same studio that did that, this is a studio that's done games that people like, like they did the Sonic racing games, the Mario Kart, Sonic games, which some people swear by those games.
Supposedly they're
even
pretty
better than
decent.
Mario Kart. So whatever, it's a solid studio. They made a 3D platformer. This is not a Little Big Planet game. It is a, if I was to compare it to anything, it would be
Big Planet.
Super Mario 3D Land and Super Mario 3D World. It's like that. But Sackboy, I guess specifically 3D World because it's more designed to be played with multiple people. And the levels are kind of designed that way. It doesn't feel as good as a Mario game, but it doesn't feel like as floaty as like Little Big Planet. They've definitely tuned it to feel like a platformer and not a. And honestly, I think the problem with Little Big Planet's like game feel is because it was all physics based, and it was physics based in like a side scroller, which was especially weird.
Yeah.
But here, it being a 3D platformer, I feel like its slight floatiness, it gets away with it more than a fucking side scroller does, if that makes any sense. So this is like a pretty like well put together thing. It's kind of a shame that no one's talking about it. To me, so far, like the biggest flaw seems that it seems really easy. But honestly, like so did Super Mario 3D World at first. I don't know if it's ever going to get hard because it's probably not going to have all the crazy like post game content that 3D World had, where that game got really fucking crazy and fun.
Would this game have done
but it
better
probably
if it
will
wasn't a
get
launch
harder.
title?
No,
Like if
I
they
mean,
waited a little bit?
nothing
I
does
think
better
Nick,
than
I
the
think Nick
launch
is
of a
just saying
system.
that if people weren't playing Spider-Man and Demon Souls and
I mean, it's a pretty impressive launch
Bugsnax.
lineup. So
No, the answer to that is always going to be no, because nothing does better than the launch of a system for games that people really don't care about. I mean, yeah, I mean, people pick up this game along with Demon Souls just because it's the launch of a system, and people feel like sometimes they need to pick up a couple of games, and this fits that bill. That honestly, I think this game isn't going to be a big, huge success, but some people are still going to. I mean,
right.
they might, Prince of the Universe still hasn't played the game because I asked him about it. I don't think, but he did buy it.
That right
'cause
there
it's a
should
launch.
tell you something.
This is
he's just playing
the
other shit.
knack of this launch. For
No,
this
it's not
Okay,
knack, because
let's be careful.
so here's the thing. I was on the fence about picking this up, but I picked it up because it has co-op, and I was like, well, I could play this with Malia, and in fact, when I installed it, I was like, maybe I could play this with Henry, like the first couple levels or whatever. And sure enough, he was playing a little bit, mostly just
never
walking
offered
off
to
the
play
edge.
it with me, Brad.
But
very rude.
well, you don't have it. You're not going to play this game.
I would play it with you.
Well,
Oh,
call him out on
whatever. The more I played this game, the more I realized this is actually like a much more competent platformer than I thought it was going to be. And I had no reason to think that it wouldn't be. And it's no fucking Mario game, but I think where this game succeeds is because it has a lot of the same charm that Little Big Planet had. You can never deny that like as far as like an artistic expression, like Little Big Planet like did some like pretty magical stuff, and a lot of that stuff is still happening here, not just with like the visuals and the kind of the craft world looking aesthetic, right, of like made of all these different cool materials and stuff. That's all still here. By the way, this is the PS4 version. I'll explain why in a second, if I didn't already. The other thing is like this game has got like a fucking badass soundtrack, because Little Big Planet games have always have really good like tunes, and like that stuff is here too. And there is some like real like actual like pop music in this game, very similar to kind of like the Rayman Legends music stages. Remember where they actually used like like Black Betty and
Man of Medan?
So you can't stream this.
Well, yeah. So they have some stages like that in each world, which are pretty cool. Like I did Jungle Boogie, I did Uptown Funk, but I'm not super far in this game. I heard there's a David Bowie level in this game, which is cool. But even outside of those levels, like some of the levels I've been playing, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. I'm like, wait a minute, I know this. What is this? I know this. And they do some like cool like instrumental remixes of other pop songs as songs in other stages that like honestly sound pretty fucking good. And so you have the look and the charm and the music, and you just really start kind of feeling that Little Big Planet vibe, and it sort of makes up for the fact that this might not be like an ultra challenging game, or it might not be as creative as like fucking a Mario 3D platformer, but that's a little unfair, right? By the way, I do terrible in this fucking boss fight, and it's also not a very good boss fight compared to some of the others I've done, but this is actually just a mini boss. I just keep dying. So, but
you know
I
what?
assure you,
Honestly, as far as like talking about it as like it's just strictly as a platformer, I do want to talk a little bit more about Astrobot tonight. But like, coming off of Astrobot, like
so
I would love to
Astrobot,
play another kind of experience. Like
Astrobot. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
it's got
Astrobot's a
me in
pretty
the mood for
magical
this kind of game.
experience. Astrobot's a pretty magical experience, but for a completely different reason. As like a pure platformer, yeah, it's solid. But
I would say Astrobot Rescue Mission
is
Astro is a better platformer, yeah,
for sure,
Yeah.
sure. But there's some like neat ideas here, and I really expected to not like this thing. It was just sort of like a last ditch like GameFly slot. Oh, maybe I could play with Malia sort of thing. And I was playing this by myself today, so I had substance to talk about on the podcast, and I was playing a bunch by myself, and I just sort of kept going, and you still unlock all those cool like outfits and shit just like you do in Little Big Planet, and those are your rewards for like finding collectibles. And unlike Crash Bandicoot 4 where you have to get fucking everything, it's really easy to get
Your little
different...
dude is that why your little Sackboy's dressed like Elvis?
Yeah, dude, you get different like materials of sack and stuff, and it's that same cool shit as just this Little Big Planet, and it's like fun to get that stuff, and it's fun to dress up. And this is like a pretty cool chill well-made platformer. It's not gonna get that challenging, I have a feeling, but neither does like a modern like Yoshi game or like a Kirby game. But honestly, I feel like the charm of Little Big Planet is a better like aesthetic and like music and vibe than a Yoshi game. So
when you were in
Discord
and you brought up a comparison to like a Yoshi game, like a modern one, I was like, fucking yikes, man. Like, I have not been impressed at all with modern
That was
Yoshi
after playing
games.
like one level though.
Okay.
Which again, I was really not feeling this game at first. I was also not feeling 3D World at first, but
I will agree with you on that I was not feeling 3D World at first.
I've still never touched 3D World.
It's a great
That's
Mario
a pretty
game.
good game.
It's especially I believe that like once the credits roll, like it becomes a great game.
Did they ever release that on Switch?
I think they're planning on it, right?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be coming.
I think it's supposed to be one of the ones that's supposed to be. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be. Don't quote me.
It was leaked at the same time as the Anniversary Collection.
Yeah.
So
gotcha.
And that's obviously real. So
yeah.
Then I'll probably just keep waiting until that inevitably comes out on Switch because I do want to play it. I just never did.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not saying go out and get it. I don't know how much this costs. Oh, the last thing I'll say is I am playing the PS4 version, even though there is a free upgrade to the PS5 version. Yeah, there's a free upgrade to the PS5 version. The reason I'm not doing it is because as soon as I do that, it all of a sudden, even though it's the same system and the same game, all of a sudden my PS4 controllers will no longer work.
Mm-hmm.
And which means I won't be able to play co-op because I only have one PS5 controller. So I just have to keep it the PS4 version because PS4 controllers don't work on PS5 games.
Correct. And the PS5 controller doesn't work on PS4.
Which is supposedly the one caveat.
No,
is
it does. It does.
It will work in remote play.
Wait, what?
If you're doing remote play of a PS5 game, then yeah, you can use a PS4 controller.
But that's a
correct
fucking loophole. What I'm saying is it's obviously a switch that they're flipping because it's the same game on the same system and the same devices are connected.
Those bastards.
There's no reason I couldn't play it, but whatever.
Also, Jay Hit in chat had just reminded me, and it was even in a Nintendo Direct. I remember it now. 3D World is coming on February 12th.
And they're adding, I think, extra content to it. I do remember
it's
that.
Called Bowser's. What is it? Bowser's something. I don't remember. But yeah, there's a whole Bowser themed level or something they're adding to it. So,
so yeah, that's Sackboy. It's all right, man. Hey, let me tell you this: when this thing inevitably pops up on PS Plus next year, download it. Give it a shot.
Sweet.
Noted.
All right, where do we want to go from here? We have so many games to talk about.
Did you want to briefly, just since we talked about Astro's World last week and we're kind of a 3D platformer, to talk about it now?
I don't know if we have footage of Astro.
We do.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I know Nolan, you've finished all the major levels. I have one left to
That
go.
was my first PlayStation 5 Platinum.
I think I'm gonna go for the plat. It's such a
I
joy to play.
platinumed this game just because I had fun doing it. Because
So-
Astro's what is this? Astro's Playroom? What's it
Playroom,
called?
yeah.
Playroom
Astro's
is
Playroom, yeah.
fucking goddamn PlayStation nostalgia the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved every fucking minute, every single time, every world. I saw a little Astrobot holding a camera. I was like, let's see what fucking game they're recording. And I fucking loved
there's been
just
like
finding
one or
out.
two. There's been like one or two where I'm like, I don't know what game they're
You
referencing here.
fucking noob. You scrub.
You're not even a PlayStation fan.
I knew them all. Did you see the Days Gone one?
That's what I was going to
Not
ask
yet.
Nick. There's
Not
a Days
yet.
Gone one.
is
I think
it in
it's
the
the one
PS4
world
level?
you haven't done yet.
You may
Yeah.
have missed it, but
It's in the jungle one. Have you done the jungle
I
one?
have not done the
Okay,
jungle one.
you'll
That's the only one left.
definitely see it. It's pretty obvious when you see it.
The only one that there was one with some guy was wearing a beanie and he was playing with a butterfly, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Do you know what? And then the other one I couldn't pinpoint. I think it might have been Concrete Genie, but he was painting something
What's
on a
that
wall.
What's that one on the footage?
Where
Flower.
Yeah, Brad got it.
oh, god damn it! Thank you.
Yeah. Dude, I fucking loved finding all these little
So-
Easter eggs, and every time I would unlock a PlayStation console or a controller, just kind of flipping it around and looking at it, and like some of the accessories I forgot existed, and like just
They're so high def.
the fucking PSP and stuff, and I unlock a PSP and like a fucking one of the UMDs, and it just brings me back to like my freshman year of college and laying in my fucking in like my bunk bed in my fucking dorm room playing God of War on my PSP, and it's just like, oh my god, just like all these fucking good feelings and stuff.
Yeah, it's such a joyful game. But we had talked briefly when we talked about it last week a little bit, and there was kind of a discussion of like, well, this is really more of a tech demo, which it is. It absolutely is a tech demo. But like, having played more of this now, I don't think I would second guess anybody putting this on their top 10. I don't know if it's going to happen, but like, it's such a joy to play.
It is a solid game. Like, it is not like it's not going to be someone's game of all time. But it is definitely a solid game that I had fun playing. Like I said, like I had no problem.
It's a standout game I've played this year.
This game just because I enjoyed finding all of the little secrets and content.
Yeah, it's really fun to try to 100% as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's a ton of fun. Everything.
One of the achievements, one of like the trophies in this level, and I remember it, is like you're in a section where it's raining, and holy fuck, feeling the rain on the controller is fantastic.
Yes,
but then
so
cool. There's like a little area where you see like a body, like an Astrobot that's supposed to be dead, and they have like a little origami on them, so it's clearly like heavy rain.
Heavy rain.
Yeah. And if you go under like a little awning, he puts away his umbrella, like shelter from the rain or whatever. And like the trophy is called Jason. It's fucking fantastic.
The best is punching everything.
Oh yeah,
I saw this today. I almost tweeted about it, but so when you're going up it's in like the PS3 level, and you're going up this wall, right? And there's these glass rooms, back there where the little Astrobots are back there playing consoles and stuff on the TV, and one of them was playing Dude Raider.
Nice.
And I was like, it's even like poking fun, just like all like the silly internet memes about Uncharted being Dude Raider and stuff. It's great. It's fucking great.
And those Easter eggs, you can like interact with some of them by hitting them, and they do like more stuff like in the Tekken one, they have like Kazuya holding down like Heihachi, right? But if you go punch them, they get up and Heihachi starts doing a move, and then Kazuya like knocks him into the air, does his thunder uppercut or whatever, and I'm like, this is cool. There's a lot of stuff like that.
Clearly the developers of this game are fucking PlayStation fans, and they went out of their way to just find like little like what are the little things that fans of the PlayStation generations and the games we've seen in the past would love, like Eco. Fucking little Eco right here.
And you can sit down, right?
Sitting on the couch.
I sit on the
couch. It's so good.
It's fantastic. It's just one of those things where like just like so many good warm fuzzy feelings. It's one of those things where when I was younger, I was a PlayStation fanboy all the way. or sorry, first, honestly, I was Nintendo, then I switched to PlayStation. But honestly, the years of the 360, I was all about Microsoft. I did not. I have a PS3, but I honestly got almost all of my games
me too.
on 360. But then, as soon as the PS4 came out, I went right back to PlayStation, and I've been PlayStation since. And honestly, with the way things are looking, it's probably going to be that way the rest of my life at this point.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? We've been talking about this game and I know we talked a little bit about it this week, but the standout thing about this game is we haven't even mentioned, and that's all the stuff that the controller does.
Well, he mentioned the
triggers
rain.
and stuff.
Here's what's happening right here when he's holding the umbrella.
Section where you can feel individual raindrops on the controller,
Yeah,
and then you go into a section where it's even like heavier rain, which is the section with heavy rain, and it feels like a little more intense. And then you go farther, and it starts hailing, and it fucking feels like hail. And honestly, one of the things that does make a difference is not just the fact that it feels like it. It definitely audio from the controller plays.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
the combination of the way audio and the feedback from the controller, it does a really good job of making it feel like it's raining or hailing or you're in a dust storm or whatever.
Like, I mean,
I'm very impressed by it.
There's a lot of great games I think to play on the PS5 at launch, but I still think, and Chris Davis is going to talk about Demon Souls, which I'm also very excited to play myself, but I feel like Astrobot is still probably going to be like the best demonstration of, or the best like proof of concept for the console, the future of the console, like what's possible with the console. I mean, it's great. Like one thing we didn't mention with Spider-Man and is like just the smooth, like playing at 60 frames per second makes a huge difference. It's like having a PC gaming experience on a console, which is great. But like this is the only game I feel like that really demonstrates what is special about the system, aside from being just technically more impressive. Because that control,
you haven't played Demon Souls yet.
That's true. That's true. I do, and maybe that's a nice way to segue into.
Did y'all do the bow and arrow section of this game?
Yeah, I'm assuming
that's
you would have done it.
Plaza. That's in the Plaza. That one is a good.
How awesome did that feel? Right.
It does
the sound and the feel
when you pull back the bow of just the trigger getting a little bit more harder to pull it a little bit,
and the sound
as soon as you let go of that thwop, that like kind of the pulling back, and as you're pulling it back, you hear the bowstring stretching like.
Yeah, like Demon Souls does that stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
it does
with the bow and arrow.
That is, I think, that's one way of kind of like distinguishing maybe, because we talked a lot about like Spider-Man and we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed and Sackboy, but like all of those are games you can play on PS4 as well. But like Demon Souls is a PS5 exclusive, Astrobot's a PS5 exclusive, and those are the only two games that so far that we've play that we're going to talk about.
Why does Spider-Man not do more? That's a little surprising because Insomniac is owned by Sony now.
PS4. I don't think they develop Spider-Man Miles Morales for the PS5. It doesn't do nothing.
It's still a first party game though. I mean,
the triggers do kind of change a little bit when you're web
swinging. They do.
And there is definitely noise that comes from the controller, and that's a little thwap when you like send out.
It's all pretty minor, I would say, especially in comparison to something like Astrobot.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe at some point they maybe do a patch that adds a little more, but I don't think they had really intended it. I'm sure Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5, whatever they're going to end up calling it, I'm sure that will probably have a lot more. Maybe something dealing with like the touchpad or
a game I bet will do a lot of stuff like this, like Astrobot. That Keynet Bridge of Spirits, I bet will have quite a bit of this.
Maybe Sackboy does nothing. Isn't that weird? I feel like for launch, like why they should have at least on their first party.
Wait, did you play some of it on PS5? Like, because you're playing the PS4 version.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm playing the PS4 version. I don't know.
Missing some of it.
Yeah, you're right.
I would be interested.
I mean, I'm using a PS5 controller, so I was confused, but it is still the PS4 version.
Gigamir in chat says Ratchet and Clank will be full of shit.
That makes sense.
Everything they've shown has been really big on like the fast loading and stuff like that, and I'm sure that'll play a big part. Yeah.
Also, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that everything I would say that I've played so far, besides maybe Assassin's Creed, has had ridiculously fast loading speeds. Not saying Assassin's Creed hasn't, But like everything else, it's been like, you'll see here that I'm about to teleport to another section of the game, and it's not like, even on the PS4, it would be, even if you were loading off like an SSD, you would have like, a couple of seconds. But this, it's like you're just basically there. It's like super impressive. And you can see here, this is the section where they show off all of the things you've collected, and just like seeing.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so fucking great. Also, real quick, just before we move on, I forgot to mention with Spider-Man, but like, man, if you climbed like the highest point in Spider-Man, like top of Avengers Tower, and just kind of look out, like the draw distance is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it like you can't, like, there's no, it's just kind of like as far as the eye can see, and it's crisp and beautiful, and you can see the details, you can see people walking on the street. Like, it's so impressive. And the playing on performance mode with 60 frames per second is definitely a game changer in that game. I tried bumping Spider-Man down to the fidelity mode so I can take advantage of ray tracing, but like,
ray tracing's lovely and all, but is if you've played for even 30 seconds, if you played with the performance mode, you can't go back. You can't the high performance or whatever, whichever one.
It seems weird
because 30 seconds on high performance, fidelity is just like, it feels like the game's crawling. It feels like there's something wrong.
It's so, I mean, I did feel like something's wrong. I played Spider-Man PS4 all the way through at 30 frames per second, obviously, because it's a PS4 game.
As soon as you feel that 60, though, you can't go back, man. It's so smooth.
Yeah.
Go back, boot up your PS4 and boot up Spider-Man right now, as soon as the podcast over, and I guarantee you it'll feel like something's wrong, because it just that.
Yeah.
As soon as your eyes get the fucking crisp 60 frames a second fed into them, you can't go back, man.
I don't want that getting into my eyes. Anyway, sorry. Let's move on. I do want to. So Chris Davis, of all people, started his PS5 adventure with Demon Souls, which is honestly what I'm saving for last. Just because I feel like that's gonna
Demon
be
Souls is $75. Okay, I'm thinking about it, but it's an expensive video game.
That is true. I mean,
get used to that future, unfortunately.
I mean, that is the price of games now for this generation, unfortunately. But hey, that's a whole nother conversation. All right, Chris Davis, you said you're like already in the end game of this, right?
So no, I'm 99% certain. I am 41 hours in at this point.
It's the shortest Souls game, I think, so that makes sense.
It does feel kind of short for the level selection that you have. It's been pretty good. It's been surprising.
And you've never played Demon Souls, right? Like prior.
Never played Demon Souls. Not a fan of Dark Souls. Loved Bloodborne. Loved Sekiro.
Oh, that's my background as you've never played through a Souls game.
Whatever.
No.
That's a legitimate fucking question. I'm saying you've never played through a Souls game before?
No, I haven't. I've dabbled a little in Dark Souls 2 and 3, but I've never actually put foot to ass and actually played them.
Okay.
All right.
So what do you think?
I'm thinking this is, granted, I'm saying this disclaimer of my experience with Dark Souls.
What started it all?
Well, this game feels a little easy. Honestly,
okay.
Oh,
no.
Shit.
No.
Motherfucker.
I say that specifically as somebody who has no background in the later Souls games, but like the AI in this game is surprisingly easy to manipulate.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about Souls games, or just when I say Souls games right now, I am specifically referring to this style, this genre of game. Once you've played a couple of them, whether it's Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Sekiro, you have a deeper understanding of what's expected of you.
Yes.
You do go into experiences knowing what's going to be thrown at you and kind of how to approach these situations. So, when I played Bloodborne, albeit that game is hard as fuck, I had already played Dark Souls 1 and 2. It felt like it didn't feel like big of a jump for me.
I would say that Demon Souls did start it all. Like, Souls-like was not a thing until this game existed.
Yes.
And when this game first came out, it was unique. It was that scenario where when you die, you lose it all unless you are able to get back to it. You get respawned at a bonfire or at the Nexus. And it was that fear of walking everywhere with a shield held up because you were scared of what you were going to encounter. You didn't know. And not saying that other Souls games didn't have similar feelings. It's just the more you played Souls games, the more confident you got and your ability to quickly dodge something that comes at you. And while there are still the occasional bullshit cheap shots, enemies popping out from around corners, walls rolling down staircases, whatever, you don't often feel as bad when you die to those when you're more familiar with that series, just because you are like, you know what, I can definitely get back to my soul stain fine and get and recover all the souls I lost, or maybe I didn't even lose that many souls, so like whatever. But that first time, back 2000, what year did this game come out?
2009.
2009. So 11 years ago, when you were playing this for the first time, holy fuck, everything was new, everything was shocking, everything was scary.
To be fair, this is a lot easier than Sekiro.
I mean, honestly, Chris Davis has finished Sekiro. I feel like having finished Sekiro myself, after something like Sekiro, I feel like
Symphony of the Night shouldn't be as hard as it is.
Shut the fuck up, Brad. Man, that game pissed me off the other night. Holy shit.
Damn.
Wait, no.
You're right. Touche.
Well, but the thing is, he led with, the problem is it's too easy. Like, this is
that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
The easiest Souls game, but why are you talking about easy? Shouldn't be the word you're using.
Well, y'all didn't let me finish my statement.
I'm saying literally, don't use easy. This is not an easy game.
Your statement, Chris Davis.
I say because the AI is easy to manipulate, and half the bosses in this game are more gimmick bosses that have like a focus on a certain mechanic or element to it. Like,
as opposed to just straight up like approaching it with combat skills. Like, it's like you have to kind of figure out how to kill it.
Yeah, very much so. Like there's some bosses in here to where you go and you press a couple levers and you kill the boss. Or you just like put on a thief ring and you don't run and you can kill the boss easily. Like, it's things like that. I finished off a boss at the end of this area in 15 seconds. Like, I could not believe like how easy it was to manipulate that boss. It was
also
surprising.
Let's not forget that you're playing a role-playing game. Sekiro is an action game. They're just very different.
But also, I mean, you think about it. This is the game, like Nolan said, this is the game that kind of started it all, right? So, like, of course it's going to be different, right? Like, so much, like, everything that came after this built on this, and
they saw the good things from this. They saw the bad things. They took out as much bad as they could. They took all the good and they added more good and expanded on it. Yes, this game is not perfect, but I mean, it is the founder of this series.
Now, also, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't. Chris Davis hasn't played the original, so I don't know if I can really ask him this question. But this is like this is a Blue Point game. Is this a 1-to-1 remake? I'm assuming kind of like the way they approach Shadow of Colossus.
It is meant to be a 1-to-1 remake. It doesn't have the 6th Archstone that was canceled in the original game's development. So yeah, it's all those levels. It's, as far as I can tell, it's supposed to be all that same geometry. The only thing
they added one door. They added one door that's driving people crazy.
Actually, they solved that today. They figured out what it is. And that's the thing about Blue Point's treatment of this, is that the only things they've really added are like armors, a few more armor sets, and like an extra door, and that's it. Yeah. It's,
you know what, I will give it to Blue Point. There's so many studios, so many games in this industry that are called remakes everyone gets confused between remasters, remakes, and that kind of shit. Like, Blue Point, when they say they're doing a remake, it is a fucking remake.
Right? It's like in Super Mario 64 on the Switch, they took out Mario saying "So long, gay Bowser." What the fuck's up with that? Why do you got to change stuff?
Yeah, no, right?
Leave it the same.
In fact, it comes down, it's so 1-to-1. Like, even the item placement is exactly the fucking same. even the percentages of drops are the exact same.
Yeah,
like you could use an 11-year-old wiki like strategy guide for Demon Souls, and it works perfectly for this remake.
You know, there's a reason for that, right?
Like,
Blue Point doesn't make video games; they make art assets.
You know what, Brad? They do a very good job.
They
Chris
do.
Davis, how are you going to leave us hanging? What's
They
behind
do.
the fucking door?
Oh, they discovered a brand new armor set. It's called the Penetrator.
Whoa, interesting name.
That's what it's called.
So I saw people like threads about, oh, what should Blue Point do next, and it should totally be a remake of Legend of Dragoon. Blue Point can't remake Legend of Dragoon because that is a game that would require actual like
remake. Like that.
Yeah, that's too old. That's
you can't reskin that and make it look better.
You can't reskin Legend.
You know what they should remake, Brad? Scalebound.
Yeah, right. Fucking Jesus. I opened the center console in my car literally today, and I found like a little notebook, like a little tiny notebook you scribble notes in, and that is what a notebook is. And I flip it open, and literally on the page, this is some old ass shit from when we first started podcasting. It was like hidden gems that deserve sequels, and it had Freedom Fighters, which is funny because that's kind of in the news. And IO Interactive is. It had Phantom Dust on there, which is old because Phantom Dust actually finally announced more Phantom Dust.
Yeah.
And then it got canceled.
Yep.
Maybe sad.
So
what was I talking?
Basically, everything you write down in that little notebook is just going to come to a sad ending. Is that it?
Well, stop writing in the notebook, Brad.
Can you
stop it?
Can you please write in the notebook and write
Capcom leaks from today?
Can you write Fortnite in there? And can you write Pokemon? And can you write other things that need to go away?
Do an experiment.
I'm gonna write Nick.
So back on topic
tonight.
Sorry, back on topic, Chris Davis. Bring this podcast in. Tell us about Demon Souls.
It does take advantage of the PS5's capabilities. Obviously, the load times are great. I haven't had a load time that's longer than like 7 or 8 seconds.
Nice.
Which is tremendous considering the cycle of dying and having to reload an entire fucking level over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
The controller they have a little fun with. Magic spells and miracles that you use. You can track your usage and how much you have in them based on the haptic feedback. Like for example, I have a spell called Ward, which gives me like 70% damage rebuffing. And as it only lasts for like 70 seconds. But I can feel through the controller how much time I have left because it slowly builds in its feedback.
Like it's building in intensity?
Building in intensity, yeah, until the spell ends.
I remember a really, really broken like barrier spell in this game. I wonder if that's still in here.
Probably.
Hey, did you choose Royal when you started the game?
I chose Knight.
Okay.
Why should I not choose Royal when I start? What's going on?
I don't know. You might be walking around calling the game easy like Chris Davis. If you choose Royal, that's like the overpowered starting class with broken ass spell.
All right, I won't be choosing Royal then.
Yeah. Right here is something I couldn't figure out. There was a note that says there's a tunnel ahead, and there were a ton of appraisals for it, but there's no fucking tunnel. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Are you being trolled? Is that what's happening? You're being trolled.
There's a lot of fucking trolling with the messages in this game, and that's another thing I want to mention.
In this game, in every Souls game,
that's how Souls games work.
Like, it feels like more so in this.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, if I don't remember exactly how the messages system worked in Bloodborne, but I don't feel like they were as specific. And maybe that wasn't quite as much of a thing in Bloodborne, but like in Souls games, there's that kind of shit all the time. Like where it's like you can't really parse whether people are being serious or like leading you into a trap.
Yeah,
penetrate.
It's part of the fun. It's part of the fun.
Another thing I wanted to mention was the multiplayer for this game. Like it's just like a standard Souls game with the messages and notes and players can invade you, but like. I don't see people really using the multiplayer. Like, I have only ever summoned one person to help with a boss. I never see anybody put down their soul markers so they can be summoned. I have never been invaded. I have never been invaded in 40 hours of playing.
Chris Davis, you can only get invaded if you're a good player, right?
Wait, you've been invaded.
Damn, shots fired.
The only
you
time
fought the old monk, right?
That's the only time. And that's another fucking gimmick boss fight that you can manipulate to
that's a brilliant boss fight, and don't spoil it for new players of Demon
No,
Souls.
it's not a brilliant boss fight. It's a piece of shit boss fight that's just not worth doing. They should have cut that shit.
Brings up a good point, Chris Davis. If you're not in your human form, you can't get invaded.
Oh, so if you have to be human to be invaded. Okay,
you can't be human.
Well, then I'm in Souls form. I didn't. I have. So I learned about worlds.
The other way around is if you were trying to go into a boss fight and you want to see the stones or the like summon options, you have to be a human.
Okay.
To get in, I don't remember the exact details, but yeah, there's a difference in between what you can and can't see when you're human versus not.
I can't remember.
Nolan's
right though. I just don't remember the details of that.
Well, I specifically read up on world tendency to learn about how pure white and pure black worlds work. So I've basically
it's a cool idea on paper.
Yeah, it's kind of weak in its implementation. And I've specifically been playing this game to where I'll beat a boss, I get my body restored, I will immediately go to the Nexus and jump off a ledge and die. So I can.
Well, that's why you're never getting invaded or anything. Yeah,
like, soul form is basically single player according to Gigabyte, which makes sense.
You're playing this game on easy mode, Chris Davis. Jeez,
like really?
Yeah. No, I mean he's right. You have to be human. That's right.
Okay.
To get invaded. It's not like that in the later games, is it?
Yeah, it's not like that in the later games at all.
Well, how do you know? You haven't played the later ones.
I have played a little bit of the later ones, and I have been invaded in Dark Souls 2 and 3.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you still have a human in those games to get invaded.
Well,
honestly, one of my favorite gifts from that's from Dark.
But you just died
with Ornstein and Smo. Is that guy stripping down naked, running into the Ornstein and Smo battle, and just turn around and bowing and letting that spear go right up his.
Out of curiosity, which boss did you summon for?
Here's my stats for Jaeger to yell at me about later because I'm evidently
you did this all wrong.
You made a mistake. Don't let Jaeger see them.
God, what the fuck?
Yeah,
which boss did you summon for?
It was the Flame Lurker.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it was
the Flame Lurker is a bit of a pain.
He's really aggro.
Yeah, that's the one that's one of the few bosses in this game that feels like a traditional Souls boss, to where it's heavy aggro. You got to learn about pattern manipulation, and
you keep saying that, but you haven't played other Souls games really.
I have played Bloodborne and I played Sekiro to completion.
Okay, but he's not like Dark those Souls. Weren't RPGs. I mean, Bloodborne was a little bit more like a Souls game. Sekiro is nothing like a fucking Souls game in terms of like what you're fucking pressing on the damn controller. You know, it's just not the same.
I mean, I disagree with you there. It feels pretty much the same to me. You play one of those From Software games, you pretty much played a Souls game.
Okay, that is an inflammatory statement.
That is not inflammatory. I think that is a fair statement.
Let's move on. Are you enjoying Demon Souls? You're gonna finish it soon.
I am. I'm sorry?
I just wish it was harder than Sackboy.
All right, Brad's officially trolling now. So.
Yeah, no, he's been trolling since I announced that I've been playing this game.
First of all, it's impossible to talk about Souls games without somebody trolling. So it comes with the territory. There's
a lot of good stuff in here. My usual complaints with the Souls game, you know, the meme I have of, you know, shit story, gotta watch a 7-hour YouTube video, is not present here because they actually have an introduction and I get plot from characters that explain things, which is nice. I like the level design. The game is fucking gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Like even the worst areas of the game, they can be starkly beautiful. Like
I'm very eager to play it because like I feel like there's a lot of stuff to play in the PS5 right now, but I feel like and Spider-Man looks great, but it's also just kind of like a uh, it's a smoother, slightly enhanced version of a game came out 2 years ago. This I think is probably the best demonstration of power-wise of what the PS5 is capable of, at least early on.
Have you seen Bugsnax, Nick?
I have not seen Bugsnax outside of that creepy video we watched last week on the show with the shish kebab or whatever that was.
Shishka bug.
Can I ask you one final question?
Yeah.
What did you think of the Tower of Latria? That I feel like of it's. I think that's one of the most iconic locations of any Souls game.
It is delightfully creepy. I did enjoy it. The thing I didn't like was that because one of the things I've liked to do in the past 10, 15 hours of play is to put down my soul marker and help out other players. I like doing that. I like taking on some of the bosses and helping them out and progress. And you can't put down your soul marker in any of the Tower of Latria area without being summoned for the old monk.
Mm.
And that's
that's right.
Specifically,
don't tell him about the old
Okay,
one.
yeah. Don't spoil. This is I played maybe an hour of the original Demon Souls, and that is the extent of my exposure to this game. It is kind of the last bastion of Souls that I have not played. So I'm very much looking forward to going into this. Luckily, like I've heard Jaeger and stuff talking about how they're not super happy with some of the aesthetic choices or changes they've made design wise to like characters or bosses or whatever, but like I'm going into this thing completely blissfully ignorant, and I'm pretty excited about that. So
I think it's a fucking gorgeous game. I really honestly don't understand what they're talking about with the aesthetics.
That's because you never played the original, and I didn't play the original. So
yeah,
like,
but in researching this game, I watched plenty of footage and saw plenty of pictures, and like I see an 11-year-old game that is okay for its time, but nowadays it looks like shit.
To be fair, and because I know this is what you're going to get attacked by Jaeger. You're going to get attacked by Jaeger for this.
I was going to get attacked by Jaeger anyway.
No. I know. I just want to make sure he knows that I'm trying to clarify for him, and he can attack me if I'm wrong. But his complaints were not that it doesn't look better. It's that they made, in his mind, maybe some perplexing decisions about the actual design of the characters.
Yeah, like
changes. Like changing just like overall like their aesthetic, like the way like the armor they wear, the way they're just designed is different. They look better, technically speaking, they look better, but aesthetically speaking, it's a downgrade to him. I think it looks fine. But
I think you would be impressed if I wouldn't have captured like this level, and I would have shown another area like the Valley of Defilement or something.
I mean, to be honest, I'm glad you grabbed this stuff because this is like I think this is a fine job of kind of showing what the game is like. But I don't want to see. I want to enter these areas and be like, hit with the splendor, rather than seeing the footage on my screen while we're talking about it. I'd rather just experience it for myself. Personally,
it's dude. I played Demon Souls all the way through one time in like 2009. Maybe I finished it in 2010. I remember like every angle here. Like once you play a Souls game, it's seared into your fucking brain.
Because you have to, because you die 300 times.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
I do at least.
But like, Chris Davis. I mean, also, Chris Davis, do yourself a favor. You talked about having played Dark Souls 2 and 3 dabbled a little bit, but like, still, I don't think anything beats that original Dark Souls as far as world design goes. I would be shocked if Demon Souls is better because, like, just you remember every inch of Dark Souls because it is just layered on top of each other and wound back in. It's all. For the most part, it's all seamless. You just remember every shortcut, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I would agree with you playing through that, if not for two things. Number one, fuck the Valley of Defilement, and number two, Blight Town in Dark Souls was inspired by the Valley of Defilement, which fuck the Valley of Defilement. So,
but Blight Town, if I remember correctly.
Dark Souls to Blue Point, and we'll talk.
You don't even need to do that,
no.
dude. Play Dark Souls 1 on PC with DS Fix installed. Blight Town's not an issue. I mean, it's still hard.
That
like any section.
DSFX does amazing things for Dark Souls on PC, but you can install the mod that every time you die, it says "Thanks, Obama."
Yes, that's also a good one to have.
How awesome did the flying stingrays look in this game? Was it pretty majestic?
That's I didn't know what they were actually called, but yeah, they're kind of nice. They're a pain in the ass when they have their crystal attacks that they do, because
thanks for spoiling that.
Well, they track Nick, and you can't really avoid them unless you're really running.
Anyways, we need to move on. We need to take a break, but seriously, play Dark Souls 1 on PC and just install DS Fix. Like Blight Town was infamous because it was so it chugged like a fucking motherfucker when it first came out, and it made it nearly impossible to get through. Blight Town runs perfectly at 60. You smug motherfucker? What are you talking about?
No, it's not a question of like performance. It's a question of level design. And fuck the Valley of Defilement.
Well, it's the poison. Same with Blight Town. Blight Town sucks aside from the frame rate because it's annoying and hard.
Once you get to the second area,
the trick is to just get good.
Yeah, that's true.
Nick, once you get to the
hey, bitch! I've done Blight Town. I will get through the Valley of Defilement, and I'm not worried about it.
You're gonna get through Dracula's clock tower.
You shut your mouth, bro. Fucking clock tower is why would you bring up this? Oh my god, we need to take a break. Let's take a break. We're gonna come back. We still have more games to talk about. Like I said, we have a lot to cover tonight. We're gonna talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We're gonna talk about Bugsnax. We're gonna talk about oh god, what am I forgetting here? There's got to be something.
More?
Pathless.
The Pathless. Thank you. Yes, the Pathless. So we have a few more games to talk about. We'll get to those. We're also going to talk about IO Interactive's new game, which was actually pretty exciting. We'll talk about that, and some leaks from Capcom, which also seem pretty exciting as well. So if you're watching us live or listening at home, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this short break. Gentlemen, are we ready to continue? We have more games to talk about. What do you say we start with Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Yeah?
Sure.
This is
Nolan,
the show?
you started it.
I dare
This
you.
is the show. This is, in fact, the show. Yeah, so I started Valhalla the other day. Nolan started it. I'm not super far, so I guess consider these impressions pretty early.
How many hours did you say you were?
Like 7 hours, but I get
7 out of 100?
I can't remember. Maybe I'm just forgetting. I don't think I've seen a title card yet. I get the distinct feeling that I'm still very much in like the game hasn't really started yet. I mean, we all know this is going to be a massive. You know, if you've played Odyssey, especially if you finished Odyssey,
what is this shit? Are you in England yet?
No, he's in Norway. And that's one reason why I know I'm still kind of like in the prologue.
You haven't even reached the title card, right?
Right. So, the game takes place largely in England, but the beginning of the game is still a pretty massive land space to explore, but you're in Norway. So that's kind of where I still am, and that's where Nolan still is. So it still seems to me like, yeah, we're going to get to a point where the story takes us to England, and that's where we're going to see a title card, and that's where it's kind of like lets you loose and lets you just kind of explore the world at your leisure. Haven't reached that point yet. I fully intend to in the next couple days. But you can glean enough, I think, about this game and what it's going to be like from those early hours, I suppose, because you do still have a lot of freedom to explore, and there are the same kinds of things you're going to be finding in the world exist in this world as well. So,
well, I definitely gleaned that this is Nolan's footage because he just fast traveled.
Yes,
accurate.
You son of a bitch. I have not fast traveled yet, but there's been a couple times where Assassin's Creed, most of the time you find yourself up on a place where you can like synchronize, quote unquote, and then you can jump off right into like a bale of hay. It's been a few times where I've assumed I was safe and I was not. I jumped my
That's the most fucking bullshit thing about this game is there's only, I think, been one synchronization point that I've been able to safely jump off. All of the rest, when you jump, you either fucking die or take a shit ton of damage because they don't like put a bale of hay below you. But there's bales of hay in the game.
So there was one synchronization point that was like, I guess it's kind of like the highest point in this first map, right? And I didn't know if I was safe. I was like, it was so high. I was like, I think that's a body of water down there, but I'm not entirely certain. But I'm gonna go for it. And I jumped. And let me tell you, that's one area where they use the controller HD rumble effect kind of interestingly, because like as the longer you're in free fall, like the intensity of the
wind,
it starts to like build up. And it was a long fall, and I barely missed a cliffside by by like a foot, but I landed in water, so that was nice. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I don't know where to start this conversation. I feel like it is Assassin's Creed. So
this is tough.
There's a certain amount of information everybody already knows about Assassin's Creed, so no point in, I guess, rehashing that.
How cool are Vikings?
So it's hard to. This is definitely going to be one of those situations where maybe you either kind of you like this kind of, if you're into Viking mythology and lore and stuff, then you're going to be all about this. Like I knew going into Assassin's Creed Origins that I was going to be crazy interested in everything because Egypt is like one of my favorite. Like I would love to go to Egypt. And
Egypt is cool.
I mean, I would like to go to Norway, but like Vikings
pyramids are cool.
Yeah, but like Vikings, I don't have a lot of exposure to stories told. I'm watching the show Vikings very slowly right now, and it is interesting and compelling, but not necessarily. It hasn't really hooked me quite yet, and I feel like there's a lot of overlap there with this kind of game. So, if you're not really into that kind of stuff, I can definitely see why you may not be interested in this. But I like Eivor so far. I'm playing as Lady Eivor.
Or is there any other Eivor?
Well, it's weird.
So
one of the weird things this game does.
I did want to bring that up. Yeah, that was weird.
They let you go non-committal on the gender. So like you can.
So it's not non-committal on the gender. It is. You kind of play both, if I read it correctly.
The Animus is not sure whether Eivor was a man or a woman, so every time you boot the game up, it randomly picks one.
Yeah,
is how I understand it. Which is maybe an interesting way to let you explore both characters, but I feel like that's just kind of split, make the narrative feel really disjointed, and I have really no interest in it. And it's after playing Odyssey, like it's very clear to me that they do in fact know how to make a compelling female character. So I was like, I'm going female Eivor all the way. I don't regret it. She's pretty good so far. She's no Cassandra though. Cassandra is pretty great. She hasn't really had her moment yet where she's really
I would say
on me.
that honestly, where Nick and I probably are in the story, I don't think we've really gotten a chance to get Eivor enough screen time and story time to make a compelling argument for them being a great character.
Right. The thing, like the difference though, being in like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, pretty much immediate, like in the first 20 minutes of playing as Cassandra, and I was like, I like her. I can't wait to see where this character goes. I didn't get that immediate satisfaction with Eivor yet, but I can see the story threads they're starting to kind of or the groundwork they're starting to lay for the larger story, which seems interesting. But I can't speak to that yet. So what I can speak to though is the world and how you explore it and how you level up your character, which I like quite a bit so far. I feel like I should just kind of let Brad ask me questions about this.
What, me? You want me to ask you questions?
I don't know.
One that's going to be a little more.
I try not to engage in the Assassin's Creed.
Well, I will ask you the question that I ask about every single Assassin's Creed game.
Oh God, here we go.
What color are
I want to know. I want to know how they handle the future stuff. Are they handling it at all?
There is future stuff in it.
I have heard that you are pulled out of the Animus from time to time. I have not encountered it yet.
But again, I also want to stress this. I have lost all interest in discussing that aspect because there's no you either love it or you hate it, and there's no point in discussing it anymore.
I have a question.
So, what's up?
Have you been able to distinguish one man from another in this game? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You mean like the actual characters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or did they all look the same? Because
No,
in my
they're
mind,
fairly
Vikings
distinct.
all look the
Fucking
exact same.
racist, Jesus Christ.
A little racist. Yeah. Not all of the people I've interacted with so far have been Vikings. I can say that much.
They have like your kind of
Different
adoptive
personalities.
brother in this game is Sigrund. I think it's
Mhm.
Sigrund. I can't remember how to pronounce it. I will say this: I'm gonna have probably a lot of hard time pronouncing a lot of the names and locations in this game. But yeah, your brother Sigrund, I think, in this game is pretty distinct, and he's kind of like the only other. There's the king, which is your adoptive father at the beginning of this game, who I've only had a few interactions with, but he seems very distinct. Right now, a lot of what's going on is you interacting with your brother, who has come back from being out raiding, out exploring for 2 years. He comes back and he brings with him two assassins,
Strangers from afar.
and that's kind of how
Yes.
you're introduced to the Brotherhood. And you have you're having some interactions with them, and that's kind of what's leading you into the bigger story here. So I can't speak to it yet about your question necessarily because I haven't had enough exposure to a wider cast of characters, I guess.
I played this as well,
Mhm.
right? Did I mention that last week?
You did not mention that. Oh well, I thought you said you started it and then you stopped pretty quickly.
Yeah, I already sent it back. It's just bad timing. I wish.
I mean, I don't think there's. I'm going to be honest, and I don't.
This is what keeps happening with these games. I mean, I'm playing fucking Yakuza. What do you want?
I don't think there's any world in which this would have been a game that you stuck with, because this.
I don't think
is
so either.
This is very much, and I hate to say this, and this is a criticism as much as it is. I happen to like it, but this is a game where you're either going to spend 60 to 80 hours in it, or you're going to put it down halfway through it and never see it to completion.
So
and that's just the way
I am currently worried that I am in the later half of that group. I'm not giving up on it yet, but so far there's been nothing about it that has screamed at me like I'm gonna fall in love with this game. I think
dudes look exactly the same.
They're twins, Brad.
Okay. I was worried for a second, but this is my problem with Vikings.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if they actually are.
Also, those are not important characters at all.
Yeah,
so
those are randos who are irrelevant to the story. But I fell hard off of both Odyssey and Origins.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I didn't like the characters, but because I'm just getting tired of, I can't remember what it is. Someone posted up, but there's like fucking 762 collectibles in this game. Fuck you. Fuck you if you want me to collect 762 fucking things. Go fuck yourself.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think anybody should go into any of these Assassin's Creed since Origins, because we're obviously in, there is pre-Origins and post-Origins, and these are very different kinds of games now than they were pre-Origins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any, because before it was kind of like, okay, in this game they have a kind of a singular main focal collectible item kind of thing that you get, like the flags and that kind of stuff that you can explore, maybe a few other smaller things. After starting with Origins, it became there's too much. Nobody should go into these games with the intention of I'm going to do everything and that's the only way I'm going to enjoy or take anything out of it.
Too much is an understatement. Come the fuck on. It is just, there is a ridiculous, sometimes in the original Assassin's Creed games, I had fun collecting all the flags, collecting all the feathers, do all that shit. Oh, finding all the wolf armor pieces from Assassin's Creed, I think 2 was, or it might have been Brother. I can't remember which one. I had fun doing all that. And I enjoy finding secrets and stuff like that. But when you put 760, and it honestly makes me angry.
I know,
knowing that there's that much shit.
I've never once looked up how many there are. I didn't want to know there were 700.
I didn't look it up. I just happened to see like a title or something like that of like an article.
But I think here's the problem. Here's the problem with that is that calling these things collectibles makes them sound like meaningless things you just collect for the sake of getting a trophy. And that's not at all what they are. There's so many different things you can find in this game, and they all have serve different purposes. A lot of them feed back into the way your character progresses, gets stronger, give you new abilities. Like the thing that you just found in this footage was a book of knowledge, which gives you an ability, like an actual ability, like special ability that
Nick,
you can use.
How many books of knowledge are in this game?
There's tons, but you can only equip certain amount, and that is the fun of the game. In that, the fun part of exploring in this game is that you find all these things. You can't equip all of them. You have to make choices. It's an RPG. You have to decide what abilities would suit your playstyle or seem interesting or fun to use for you, which would make my playstyle different than Brad's or yours. And on top of finding all of these things, not only are you finding them, they're cleverly hidden a lot of times. A lot of them they're hidden in places that require creative thinking and problem solving to get into, which is fun. There's straight up puzzles hidden throughout this world that hide important.
You're saying it feels like these things were placed in there versus like an algorithm populating an area, right?
I mean, that's one thing I'm saying, I guess, but like, it's not like Assassin's Creed 2 where it's like, I know there's 100 flags and they're just randomly placed and I have to find them all. It's like, there's like, let's just say there's 50 of these books of knowledge and they're hidden in caves, in bunkers, in like high up on cliffs, in it's all over things. And a lot of times when you think you're onto something, you have to like pull at the string and kind of like poke
Nick,
around.
There's 22. There's 22
okay.
books of knowledge.
Sure.
That is a fine amount. You give me 22 books of knowledge, 15 crow's feet, 7 fucking talismans of destiny, whatever. You give me a total of 100 things to collect, I'm fine with that.
But here's the problem. Going into it thinking you have to collect them all is not the way to go about it. This game should not be about, I got to collect all of them. It's about, what do you find in the natural course of your exploring this world? And the world, I think, is compelling and fun to explore. Like, I found a house today on the top of a mountain, and this guy had left a note saying he's hidden a treasure under his house, but to get to it, you're going to have to walk through fire. And I could not figure out how to get to it.
Fireplace.
No. There's no fireplace. I could not get to it. It's probably something simple that I missed.
Gonorrhea.
I lit the whole fucking house on fire thinking something would burn away. No, that wasn't it. So I left. I was like, I don't know if I have what I need to get it or if I'm just missing it. But like, a lot of these things are not trivial. A lot of these things require some thinking. And on top of that, a lot of times they're tied to like actually interesting side stories with characters. Like I was exploring in the mountains, completely unrelated to the story, and I came across this like waterfall with this like huge pond. And as I was walking along the river, I was running into these people that were like digging, like trudging through the water, like freezing, like, oh my god, and like they're like shivering and stuff. I'm like, what are these guys doing? And then I found this lady sitting by the edge of this pond on this like blanket, and she's like, these are my suitors, and I've thrown a comb in the water, and they're trying to. I said, the one who finds the comb gets to spend the night with me. And I was like, bitch, I'm gonna find this comb. So I was in there swimming around, trying to dive down, find this comb without freezing to death, and I found it, and I got to spend an evening with this lady. And I was like, and then she talked to me, and she tells me stories about like mythology and stuff. Like, and I was like, that's cool. That's an interesting.
So cool. But why does 80 hours of Assassin's Creed feel like 800 hours? But I spend 80 hours in Genshin Impact, and it's like wonderful.
I mean, what
is happening in Assassin's Creed games?
But that is why, because I don't feel that way at all. To me, 80 hours of Assassin's Creed feels like 80 hours of Assassin's Creed. To me, that's why I say I don't think there's a world in which Brad would play 80 hours of Assassin's Creed and finish this game.
You know one of the reasons, Brad,
without even blinking.
You know one of the reasons? Honestly, climbing on things in Genshin is a lot easier than climbing on things in Assassin's Creed.
I don't even know if that's necessarily true. I mean,
I will say it is 100% true.
You can climb on anything in this game, just like you can climb on anything in Genshin Impact.
You can?
anything.
Have you seen some of my footage in this game from even earlier when I was trying to climb up a wall and all of a sudden I stopped because there was like something like 3 inches wide that I wasn't allowed to go past, and I had to drop down and go up the other side. In Genshin, you would just fucking scaled right up that wall.
I can only speak to my experience, and I haven't had much trouble climbing stuff. There's been a couple times where there's a rock wall I was trying to climb, and suddenly, because of the angle that it turned or something, I literally physically couldn't climb it, and which made sense.
Bernadette can attest. I was playing this game the other day, and there was a little fucking tattoo artwork piece of paper that I had to chase down. I'm chasing it down, and all of a sudden I got stuck on like a little peg because fucking Eivor wanted to jump from peg to peg, and I wanted her to just fucking get off the pegs and get on the goddamn ground. But she wouldn't.
So one, I will say, first of all, that is an Assassin's Creed thing that's been in existence since the beginning, and it's just it's one of those things that
games, Nick.
I know, but like the system that they've chosen for, you may not like it, and it may not be perfect, but like 90% of the time, that system works perfectly well for scaling stuff and climbing stuff, and as opposed to spending all of their time completely revamping that. They've focused on other areas, and they've
adding 700 collectibles.
I know, but like you keep saying it like that. Like, don't look at it as collecting 700 things. Look at it as you can spend 80 hours exploring this world, and there's just tons of shit to find. There's tons of shit you won't find, but it's full of stuff.
Let me ask this: as far as these collectibles go, are they like sets that you can unlock special content for? Like in Brotherhood, if you collect all 12 Romulus
collectibles from the record, like collectibles creates it makes you think of a very specific thing. Like puzzle pieces in Astrobot is a collectible. That's not what this is.
Well, what I'm asking is
Nick and Astrobot. There's like 20 collectibles.
That's also like a game.
What's your question, Chris Davis?
What I'm asking is, are there like set collectible things like in Brotherhood you could collect the 12 keys of Romulus to get the armor of Brutus. Like is there that specific kind of content in here? Okay.
Yes,
I feel better about that number then.
I'm also saying I haven't gotten to neither of us have gotten to the point where the game is quote unquote begun yet. We're still in the prologue. The game doesn't really get going until you get to England.
Well,
but I do know, like in Odyssey, like one of my favorite things in Odyssey, the thing that kept me going for 80 hours, the thing that probably took me from 60 to 80 hours was the cult. And you were literally trying to assassinate you were trying to track down, identify, and assassinate every member of this cult. And they were all over the world. And trying to identify who those people were was just part of the puzzle. And like that is the kind of thing that kept me going for so long that I got addicted to. It was my favorite part of that whole game. And I heard there is something like that in this game. I don't know what it is yet.
So I have also heard that on another topic that stealth is not a thing with this game. Like, is it
2 more games?
I know, Brad. I know you don't like talking about Assassin's Creed. What do you want me to do, man? Like, this is a game I'm gonna play for 80 hours. I don't know. Do you want to just not talk about it?
No, I mean I know. I just looked at the time. We have 2 more games.
Fine. It's fine. Chris Davis, what was your question? I'm sorry.
I'm just asking. Like, I've been hearing reports that this game is mainly about combat and action, and that there's not a whole lot of stealth. Is that true?
It's hard to tell where I'm at right now. And again, we can move on because
from what I've heard, from what I've heard, there is less stealth than in previous games, but it is definitely still there.
There is a whole stealth tree.
There is a stealth tree. You have the ability to take on and off your hood to disguise yourself. You can blend in with crowds. You can, it is all still there. I think maybe the option to use it is maybe there's less incentive in certain scenarios. Let's put it that way, because you can attack a scenario a different direction. Yes, you are a Viking.
I like how it's a separate difficulty setting.
Like raiding is a major part of this game, which is basically just like storming the shore, blowing your horn, and then just charging in and murdering everybody. So like it's a mix. It's a mix. But we can move on because obviously we're not super far yet. What I will say is
that's more the thing, and what his question sounded like it was going to end up in the same conversation we had with the last 2 Assassin's Creed games about this isn't Assassin's Creed anymore. It's not stealth. You're just fine. didn't want to get it.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fine.
I will say this: playing it on PS5 comparing it to something like Odyssey, which took fucking forever to load. Like I started this up from the menu, and I'm in the game in like 10-15 seconds, which is kind of incredible considering how massive the world is.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say that it has, out of all the PS5 games I played, it has the worst loading times, but the loading times are still good enough that they are like, I wouldn't call them bad. It's one of those things where in theory, if you aren't fast traveling, the amount of times you see a loading screen are so few and far between, because it's just a very open world where the only times loading happens is if you're like I said, traveling to a different like I guess assume from like, where are you now? Norway? To England, or like if a major story point happens, they might load like an area for a cutscene or something. But other than that, like it, and even then, it still loads fairly fast for what it is.
It's pretty impressive. Also, I like the skill tree so far. Like it goes in a lot of different directions, gives you a lot of different. It's hard. Like when you get skill points, I feel like it's really hard to decide where you want to put them, and it really does kind of depend on what kind of play style you want to go with.
It is.
Does this gameplay system? Granted, I haven't played anything since Unity, pretty much.
Wow.
That's been a while. That's how much I've dropped off series.
So you just really like Vikings? That's why you're so curious about this one?
Well, every game I come back hoping that they're going to get back to like that original 5-game meta focus and all that, but that's never going to happen.
I mean, it's getting farther and farther away from it.
Yeah, which is fortunate. But I'm wondering, does this gameplay system in Vikings feel conducive to like an eventual multiplayer mode, like a multiplayer experience?
I don't see it.
I mean,
as of right now, at least.
Yeah, I don't think it's
okay.
I don't think so, but
I just miss the days of Brotherhood and Revelations multiplayer.
You're not wrong, but that again, those were very different. Those were literally a just different kind of game than what it is now.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Want to talk about Bugsnax?
We did talk about that briefly last week.
Yes,
we did. I've played a whole lot more. I've officially caught half of the Bugsnax.
Interesting.
What the fuck is?
I've been playing some as well.
I've caught 50, so that's half of them. There's 100 Bugsnax in this game.
Nice.
So yeah, Bugsnax. There's a lot more story and a lot more content than I originally had realized when I first started playing.
Story is the focus, I would say.
Oh yeah,
that is weird. I was not expecting that.
Oh yeah, the story plays a pretty major role, and a lot of the reasons you're catching Bugsnax is to progress the story. There is, the whole concept of you're a reporter. You're going off to this town, Snacksburg, because one of the people who lives there, Lizbert, has gone missing. She was doing some research on Bugsnax, and that's the reason the town was founded, was to kind of find out more about these mysterious Bugsnax. And you're a Grumpus. That's like the race of people, I guess, the Grumpus. And she's gone missing, and so you're there to kind of like do some reporting, interview the members of the town to kind of find out more information. But it kind of goes beyond that, because a lot of people have fallen out in the town. Some people have left; they don't live in the town anymore. So you have to try and convince them to move back. So you can kind of interview them. They're like Brad said, there's a fairly major focus on story. Most of the most of the Grumpuses that you encounter will have quests. It's like, hey, I'll help you out with your story. You're right, because you're writing a story. If you help me out first.
Into French fries.
One of them wants, a lot of them do kind of have like a whole like, oh, I kind of want, like a strawberry nose or whatever, like Strawby. Or what's his face? What is his name? He's the fucking dude. Yeah, the dude bro. I don't think you've met the dude bro yet, Brad. But he wants some like Swirl arms.
What the fuck is wrong with these people?
But yeah, so the farther you get, you start interacting with more, interesting kind of Bugsnax. And the more interesting thing becomes, they are challenging to catch. Early on, you just have a simple trap. You set it up. They walk into it. You catch them. Or this one you just need to get it to like bump into something, and you can knock it out and catch it with a net. But then you start getting into more complex things like, oh, well, this guy is on fire. So if you try and catch him in your trap, he just burns your trap. Or if you knock him out and go catch him with this net, well, you just grab something that's on fire. So now you're on fire. So it becomes this kind of like the system of almost every Bugsnax becomes like a puzzle of, how do I interact with this Bugsnax to catch it? So a lot of the cases as well, it's you have to first, like Pokemon Snap-esque, take a photo of them to learn more information. A lot of the cases, like the town folks have kind of seen them before, so they might know some stuff like, oh, this type of Bugsnax likes chocolate, or they like peanut butter. And so you might do something that entices them to either, go towards that, either by putting that on a trap or maybe getting them to follow something. Like in an instance of something that's on fire, maybe you have a little strawbee that's in like a rolling ball. And so you can coat that ball in chocolate and maybe lure something that's on fire towards water so you can put it out so it's no longer on fire. Kind of that type of stuff. But it gets a lot more intense.
That's on fire, like it lives while it's on, it just walks around like it's on fire.
There's one that's what is it called? Like it's, I can't remember its name. It's like Stewbert or something. It's like a fucking like bowl of stew. And yeah, it's very hot. It's a very hot bowl of stew. There's one that's like it's like a popsicle, but it's like frozen. So if you grab it, you get like frozen, so you can't grab them.
So I just want, what do the people want the popsicle for? I'm because I keep thinking they want
they want to put
calm down, killer. All right, that's our show. Thanks, guys.
And good night.
There's a guy who lives in the desert, and the desert very hot, so he wants popsicles for his feet because his feet are hot. And if he turns them into popsicles, now they're cool.
That's way more innocent than I was going for. Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, but so I mean, there's lots of different things, and like I said, there's over 100, or sorry, not over. I think there are exactly 100 Bugsnax. I will say a couple of them are kind of variations of the same type, but
quite a handful actually.
So are you digging this game? It seems to me like I was totally expecting this to be kind of like a Nobi Boy type experience, but this is way. I know. I just didn't know what to expect. Like first look at this game, I was just like, "What is this? What the fuck is this? This is way more involved."
I want to get to the ending.
Expected.
Oh yeah, I'm curious.
I heard the ending's
story
bonkers.
Yeah.
I hear it's bonkers. I've been trying to get Carlos to read the fucking wiki and to tell me if I should keep playing.
Are there any like Octodad references in there at all?
Not that I've seen.
Oh,
is this the team that made Octodad?
Yeah.
Oh,
crazy horse or something like that.
Young horses
actually explains a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean there's lots of little secrets and stuff. There's lots of it's similar to like Pokemon Snap. If you remember playing that, you had to throw one of like the apple things at this thing to bounce off of this thing to make the Mankey angry, so he does this. It's kind of lots of stuff like that where you're trying to entice the Bugsnax in a certain way to do something. There was one where I had to ring like a dinner bell at a certain time of day to entice this fucking like waffle like thing to come out of the ocean, and it's like a fucking tornado waffle. It's fucking crazy.
This is the weirdest fucking game.
Dude, it's great though. It's fucking Nick, it's free on PlayStation Plus.
Town drama.
This game would
on
be
PS5.
Nuts I'm just saying this game would be nuts if it was in VR.
I could imagine. Yeah, that'd be pretty intense.
Is it open? It looks pretty open ended. It's like, is it open world?
Yeah, there's certain areas that are locked behind like story progression. Like you can't advance to a new area until you do something. That essentially, like maybe like a town person has access to that area, and they won't give it to you until something happens. But for the most part, like it's fairly open.
What the fuck? This donut has legs, like a centipede's legs.
Well, yeah, no, they're sprinkles. The little sprinkles on the donut are how it walks around.
It's fucking adorable,
dude. It's fucking great, man. Like so much of this shit is just fun. The way I end up catching this little donut motherfucker is great. But
extreme body horror though.
Oh yes, as soon as you start like transforming the Grumpuses into actual like Bugsnax people, like it gets fucking insane. Like when you make like one of them, like you give them popcorn arms, but now their arms are these stumpy little fucking popcorn kernels, and you start giving them like a popsicle, but then their arm or leg just becomes a stick.
The
it gets pretty.
Thing, Nolan, is that they're happy.
That's true. A lot of them, you can make them happy by giving them certain things.
Oh my god, I love.
What kind of bootleg shit are you about to do here, Nolan?
I'm about to catch him.
Yeah, it works.
Oh my god,
whatever it takes, Brad. Whatever it takes.
Hey, so I don't know. This might be a bit of a stretch, but it's almost giving me like, I'm not sure how far you can take it and how creative you ultimately have to get, especially for like later Bugsnax. But like, it's reminded like thinking of like the creative problem solving like Outer Wilds or something, where you had to kind of really think outside the box to like and use things in the environment.
Dude, a lot of the times you have to use Bugsnax to catch other Bugsnax. Like you have to, like, Spuddy is there are certain Bugsnax that are very aggressive, and they'll attack anything that comes close to them, including other Bugsnax. And so oftentimes you'll have to get one maybe to get kind of enticed to come closer this direction, and it'll attack another Bugsnax, and now you can capture that one and stuff like that. So there are definitely times where you need to kind of learn the tendencies of certain ones, certain Bugsnax, to know kind of how they will react to the world and other things.
I can't wait to turn every single limb of Beffica's into
Dude, fucking Beffica Winklesnap, was that her last? Like this little bitch, fucking Beffica, man.
Yeah, she's a huge bitch. I felt so bad when she's like, man, give me some dirt on
every fucking person. She's like, I want to know what Wumpus does at midnight. Find out for me.
No, but it was so sad when you found out that the old guy,
Wumpus, Wumpus, that he just misses
he misses his wife or whatever, and dresses up a cactus,
and he talks to it because he misses her.
And Beffica's all talking shit about him,
right? You tell her, and she's like, I fucking knew it, Wumpus. Like, it's fucking Beffica. That's why I gave her a straw nose and a little poopy head.
Gigamir says this entire game is basically an Osama Ben Affleck question.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, how many Bugsnax do they eat before they become a Bugsnax? Like, there is some existential dread in this game.
You're actually getting into story shit, Chris Davis.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, the game starts getting fucking crazy Cronenberg later.
The Island of Dr. Moreau bullshit.
I have a question. Last question. Is this PS Plus on PS5?
Only on PS5. Yes, it is not free on PlayStation Plus on PS4.
I'm downloading this tonight.
Yeah,
I'm already downloading.
It's definitely worth checking out.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we have one more game to talk about before we get to the news.
That is another thing Brad mentioned. Them saying their names like Pokemon gets kind of fucking addictive. You'll catch one, and it says its name as you capture it, and it comes out of the controller too. And so it'll be like Shishkabug, or what is the? There's one on the beach that's like a. It's like a strawberry, or it's like a daiquiri something. The Skadaiquiri, or like, what's up, Brad?
You know the voice actress for this character?
Which one?
Wiggle?
Wiggle? What about Wiggle?
She's the lady from Mad TV.
Really?
Okay. Let's see. Hold on.
I don't remember her name, but I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Is that Stewart's mom?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No.
Not Stewart's mom? Then I have no idea.
I don't remember.
That's like the only person I remember from. I remember Stewart and Stewart's mom, and that's about it from Mad TV. All right.
Anyway, definitely worth checking out.
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna download this tonight. Nolan, you have one more game to talk about before we get to the news.
Yep.
What inspired you to play the Pathless?
Birds. Honestly, Bernadette likes birds.
There's a nice bird in this.
Yes, your main companion in this game is a hawk. Or an eagle, I think technically it's technically an eagle. And the best way to describe this game is journey. Just think journey. You don't really have a straight up, like you kind of have a goal, but it is a very like obtuse goal. It's like, I know I need to do this. I don't know necessarily how to do it, where to go to do it. And so it just becomes a game of explore this giant world with your eagle friend and find the solution to the puzzle.
I always thought this game was kind of linear, but it's
I thought so too. I thought it was an on rails linear. It is not. It like think Journey, but even less linear than Journey. It is a very, very big open world. When you kind of solve one area, it just opens another giant area that you then go into and explore that area. It is massive.
But you're always moving at a much faster pace, obviously, than Journey because you're
correct. So you'll notice at the bottom there's like a little white bar, and that's your essentially like stamina meter. And the more you run, that will run out, and you need to shoot those little like floating like diamond things, and that will refill your kind of boost meter, and that allows you to run faster. It's a good soundtrack. It has I've only done one boss fight so far, but it was a pretty interesting boss fight. And it's just kind of it's just the fucking world is filled with little puzzles just everywhere. Like this is a puzzle. Like everywhere you go, you'll find like sometimes they're tiny puzzles that don't really give you like amazing, great rewards. The whole kind of objective is, I'm trying to think of a good example of how to describe it. Essentially, every area I think has 3. Don't quote me, it might have more. Has 3 pillars, and you need to find essentially keys for those pillars to essentially unlock the ability to fight the boss of that area.
Right.
And when you're exploring that world, the first area, I think each one needs like 1 key, but then in the second area, everything I think needs like 2 keys or something like that. So now you're kind of having to do a little bit more to find them. This is the boss of the area that I'm in right now. I can't fight him yet because I haven't unlocked all those pillars yet.
This is crazy. I didn't even know there were moments in this game where you're not moving so fast. Like, like you're not doing the flying through the environment. Like now you're just walking through a field and like crouching down and stuff. And I just didn't know this aspect of the game existed.
I didn't know either. I think it's kind of unfortunate. The marketing I don't think was as good as it should have been. I think they were wanting to really show off that really cool running, shooting the arrow, jumping,
which is cool,
on the eagle part of the game. And yes, that is cool, but it's I don't want to say it's such a small part, because there definitely is that does play a decent. You do that a decent amount in the game. But I just don't think it showed off enough of what the game actually is.
Gotcha. So Gigamir in chat is bringing up something. People are apparently upset about the game not having a map.
So and once again, think Journey. You are not supposed to know where to go. That kind of defies the point of the game. I will say, and I kind of brought it up in Discord at one point, and that was just kind of me being dumb, that I just I didn't know where to fucking go. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? How do I not know where to go? And Prince, who had already gotten farther in the game, was like, did you try doing the very obvious thing? And I was like, no. And he was like, maybe try doing that very obvious thing. And I did it. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, there you go. What
was the obvious thing?
A big vortex opens up and you go into the vortex.
No.
It's pretty fucking obvious.
I didn't want to go into the vortex. It looks scary.
That's kind of what I was thinking. But I'm sure there are people who are getting, irrationally upset about it. But what can I say? That's not the point. Them giving you a map would defy the point of the game.
It's literally a game about exploration, and
yes.
It seems like.
And I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where it's kind of counterintuitive to my thoughts on Assassin's Creed exploring that world versus this. But I think maybe it's also because of the fact that I know there's less in this world, even though it is kind of Assassin's Creed gives you a map and it's like, here you go. Everything you want to know is here and there it is to collect, versus this where it's more so kind of figure it out. And I don't know, maybe I just like that a little bit more. Maybe I'm a little more okay not collecting everything when I don't know that I'm missing things.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean that is kind of the reason why I was like there's a reason why hearing that there's 700 collectibles would be a bit of a turnoff in any situation, because it's like, what the fuck? Where am I going to find time for that? It's just.
So I will say that this game does have, like, similar to Assassin's Creed or whatever. It has like this vision where you can kind of see generic, like, oh, I see this red thing, and I know if I go there, there will be a puzzle I can solve, and I will get a key. Like, to an extent, you have a map. It's just you can see shit in the world that you know you can interact with. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like I said,
Yeah.
whenever I press that button, it goes into like a view, and I can see that over there is a puzzle that I will be able to solve, and I will get a key, and that will be my way of progressing the game.
Right. Well, this looks
it looks great. It plays
looks
great.
pretty cool.
The soundtrack is good. I fucking love my eagle friend. You can pet him whenever you want. You just press a button and you get to pet him.
There's a trophy for that.
There is. I mean, you don't get me wrong. You're definitely going to have to pet him because
any game where you can pet an animal gives you a trophy for petting the animal. That is just
not true.
The rule.
Not true.
Like here's an example of me finding kind of a puzzle thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm interacting with it. I'm like, all right, how do I solve this puzzle? And I'm kind of looking at it, and I'm like, well, I see these 3 little circles with holes in them. Let me shoot an arrow through it. There you go. Real simple puzzle. You know, they start off fairly simple, but now I got a little key thing which will help me unlock one of the towers that I need to interact with.
Yeah.
And you can see that red thing in the background over there. That's a tower that I need.
That's a tower. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the game I think does a good job of pointing you to the major objectives that you need to do. It's the smaller things that it maybe doesn't exactly point you to.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. This game wasn't really on my radar just because I'm not really big into like endless runners, which is what I thought this game was.
Same here.
This looks way more something like just the comparison to Journey, and just thinking about how it's more exploratory than what I originally thought makes me actually want to play. Are you playing this on PS5?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw the trophy.
I think it's like $40. So and that's the only thing I kind of brought. I don't know if it's worth 40 yet. The one thing I brought up before we started the show is like Brad and I were talking about how does PlayStation Plus work in a PS5 world? You know, obviously now we've seen that Bugsnax was the first free PlayStation 5 game. What is next month going to be? I could easily see it being this. I don't know. So I maybe hold off for 11 days or however long until we find out.
Mean, I have plenty keeping me busy until December and beyond. So
how much did you say?
I do try and it's $40.
40. Okay.
If I do try and squeeze it in before the end of the year, I'll at least wait and see if maybe it pops up in December on PlayStation Plus.
Mm-hmm.
But cool.
Yeah. So honestly, so far I've been enjoying it enough, and you know, I do want to give some credit to the developer. That you know, so I don't mind buying it, but I would say maybe wait just to check. Because why not? Yeah, PlayStation Plus. But so far I've been really enjoying it. Like I'm really glad I ended up picking it up. Like I said, I was in your boat, Nick, where I thought it was just like a pretty runner with an eagle. That's what I thought. But it is so much. Here's an example of me using the key to kind of unlock one of the towers. And I think I want to say at least 4 areas. I think I've done just the first one, and I'm close to finishing the second.
Cool.
I don't know how many hours I've played. But yeah.
Your PlayStation 5 will tell you.
That is true. I can look it up.
Which, God, by the way, guys, isn't that just lovely?
The fact that makes me mad about that is the fact that they have all of my times from the games I've played before the PlayStation 5 came out, which means they were fucking keeping track of it this whole time, but not showing it to us. And that makes me fucking mad.
I don't know how accurate they are, by the way. Like, there's a few things
probably not 100% accurate.
There's a few that made me go, huh?
Yeah.
But, sorry, what were you saying, Brad?
How has the PS5 been for you guys in general?
Great.
It's been good.
I guess this was the last game, so we can kind of move on to it. And there was actually one aspect of the PS5 that none of us have really talked about that I wanted to.
What?
The fucking PS4 remote play of the PS5.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to try it out, but not yet.
I haven't tried it.
It's fucking great. Like, I played a decent chunk of Spider-Man, Miles Morales. No noticeable lag, no noticeable like input delay. Like I ended up setting up my PS4 in our master bedroom, and before bed almost every night this week, Bernadette and I have played like a bunch of Overcooked, doing the PS5 remote play. Never any issue. I think one night we had one issue where there was a slight, like the kind of a lag in the input, but it lasted like a couple seconds.
Are you wired into that PS4 or are you using Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
Damn, I'm gonna try because we're gonna use my PS4 for the Blu-ray player upstairs on the projector. We just haven't hooked it up yet, so I'm kind of curious if there's gonna be enough connection, if there's gonna be any latency there, because if not, then I can essentially play PS5 games on my projector upstairs without having to move it, which would be pretty dope.
The only downside, obviously, is you can't use the DualSense. So you're using a PS4 controller, which means any kind of advancements that the DualSense you wouldn't have.
Right.
That's the only downside, which is why, like I said, I haven't really been focusing on playing my PS5 games. It's more so like I said, Overcooked. They released essentially an ultimate version of that. So it's like the original game, the second game, and all the expansions on the PS5. And me and Bernadette are big Overcooked fans. We like playing that. So we've been playing that.
So
I've had some UI struggles.
Mm-hmm.
There's just some weird things that still bother me.
Like what?
Like I have a hard time understanding what I have installed on my hard drive from when I installed a PS4 game and then the PS5 version. Like I don't know where to go to see
if you I think like options on a game, you can see which version of it is installed. I think.
Yeah, I think there's an option that says manage game content or something.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Manage game content.
Yeah,
if you actually click the options button on the game,
I click that and it takes me to like, what language do you want? And then I freak out. I back out. It definitely doesn't tell me what I was looking for, at least.
I don't know. Honestly, I haven't even installed any PS4 games yet.
Everything's just dumped into your game library, and you're given filters, but like, or if you look at like time played, for example, it shows any demo you've played, but it doesn't tell you it's a demo. So I have like Neo, like listed there 5 times from each of the betas that I played, separate betas, and I'm like, I just need to clean this shit up. Also, in my fucking library, I had a subscription to PlayStation Now, like a trial. And I was like, oh, I'll just play a bunch of fucking random games for Henry. We'll play some random Disney games, some shitty Disney games. All of those are in my library now. And I can't make them go away. Like games I tried from PlayStation Now, like PS3 games, for like 2 seconds.
You're locked in, bitch.
Well, yeah, those are games you played. Of course they're going to show up in your library.
I've never owned them. I only streamed them.
That's weird. I had one issue.
They're probably there because you have a save file in the cloud for that game, and you've been registered as playing that game, so it's going to show up there.
I'm just looking. I'm looking forward to the first update.
There might be a way for you to like clean it up somehow, but
I want to clean this up. I want to do some folders, but that's not there yet. And
I can see them adding features like that later. I had one issue, one hiccup, which honestly had me pretty worried because the first day I was playing Miles Morales. At some point I was in that first sequence where you fight Rhino at near the beginning of the game, and it went to a cutscene, and then all of a sudden my PS5 turned off, just powered all the way down, and it happened to me twice in different parts of the game.
Stability issues, but that should.
But it hasn't happened again since, and I've played another 14 hours of Spider-Man. I've played 2 or 3 hours of Astro Bot and 7 hours of Assassin's Creed at this point, and it hasn't happened again yet. So it's been pretty smooth sailing. So, also, my USB port on the front does not charge my controller when it's in rest mode.
That's another.
It's a common issue I've heard. I plugged it into the back of the PS5 and it works fine.
I have an issue that I've been able to repeatedly run into. If I put my PS5 into rest mode and I don't close the game I'm playing, when I turn on my PS5 again, it won't recognize my controller. I can't do anything. So I have to fully turn off the system and then restart it from a cold boot in order for it to recognize the controller again.
That's pretty weird.
This has happened like 7 or 8 times. It's been really annoying.
I think it's early console like struggles. It's one of those things where when you're doing all the development and stuff, the testing, whatever, you're going to test thousands and thousands of things. I'm sure they caught hundreds of bugs before it shipped, but it's when it's in the hands of like 100,000 people that all of a sudden these other issues start creeping up. I've never had a single game crash on me. I've not had issues with my USB ports. I have had the issue where when you put it into rest mode and you turn it back on, it does like the disk improperly shut down, disk rebuilding, whatever error. The weird thing is that that's only so far happened after playing Miles Morales, not putting it into rest mode with the game on, literally closing the game and then putting the console into rest mode. It will give me that issue. But like I said, almost every night we've played Overcooked on the PS5 via remote play. And from my PS4, I put my PS5 into rest mode. And every time the next day, the PS5 is still in rest mode just fine. Hasn't shut itself down.
Weird.
But 3 times putting the console to sleep while playing after having played Miles Morales and closing the game, it's done that.
That's the kind of shit that's going to get fixed quick.
No, I know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's worth noting there was the first firmware update. I think yesterday or the day before, and nobody really knows what it does specifically. It just improves
probably helps stability. Yeah. I worry more about like some of the design choices. Like I hate that I can't hold down the button and immediately turn off my PS5. I hate that. So
yeah, you can't.
It's a little thing, but that's not the thing that they're just going to patch out real quick.
You have to bring up
you have to tap it and then go to the end of the row and hit power.
Or like
I thought you meant like the actual power button on the system. Sorry.
I was trying to record a clip of Sackboy so I could put it on Twitter. And I did that and I couldn't edit the footage while the game was on screen. I couldn't edit the footage. I had to go to the home screen and then edit the footage. But I'm like, I'm at the host screen. Where do I get to this footage? I don't know where it is.
There's a dedicated
so I hit the button again that pulled up the activity cards and I scrolled all the way to the end and clicked on the footage again. The same thing you would do if you were in the game. I did it from the home screen and sure enough, it pulled up the exact same thing like it would look like in game, except now I could edit it.
It's weird. Like you said, early console hiccups. These are all to be expected, and a lot of these things will get ironed out.
I think the first like major update to this thing is probably going to just make things a lot nicer, but that's more of like
I'll tell you one thing
that happens maybe next year or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing I think it's actually pretty cool. Previously, the PS4 would take a screenshot whenever you did earn a trophy.
Right.
Now it'll do like a 15-second video clip as well.
Which can be annoying with such a small hard drive.
Yeah, I mean,
they're definitely not like two.
Yeah, no, I hate that.
Videos. They're like,
can you turn that off?
Does it automatically delete those when it needs to make space for other things?
Oh I don't think it does.
I gotta go clean that shit up.
Have y'all been doing much with those activity? I know we're running so long. Have y'all been doing much with those activity cards? Because I pull them up, I see trophies. I see one card that always tells me to play Monster Hunter, which, my God, how do I make that go away? And
I don't think a lot of the games have intuitively used them. I think both Bugsnax and Astrobot have done a pretty decent job of when you click it, it kind of tells you what you're currently doing, a type deal.
Right.
Oh, you're X number percentage of the way through this mission. The interesting thing about that is I think it also did it on Assassin's Creed, was it told you how much longer it thought you had left in that. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I think is
the game
it showed like, oh, you have 25 minutes left in this like kind of thing. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Where are the game help videos?
So it's not for everything. I have, and once again, this is up to the developer to create them. I did find some for Astrobot. There was one mission where I could not for the life of me find one of those puzzle pieces.
Okay.
And what I thought was really interesting was it kind of recognized that I was on that level and I was missing that puzzle piece. I said, show me the tip. And it shows Astrobot. It's like a little video and he waves at the camera. He runs to a spot and then waves at the camera. It doesn't actually tell you where it is. It kind of gives you literally like a tip.
How did you get to that? How did you get to the tip?
So when you pull it up, there's the activity card and you interact with that activity card. And I think there was like an option for like tip or video or something. I can't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head.
I'll look for some. I mean, it wasn't popping
up. But once
up.
again, it's all up to the developer to do that. It's PlayStation itself doesn't do it.
All right, I think we do need to move on because we're officially going to skip questions tonight.
Wait, I have two more games.
Fuck off. We have two bits of news we do want to make sure we mention. I don't know how deep we're going to go into these, but they're big deals. So we want to make sure we cover them. It's been a while since we've had a lot of news to talk about. So first of all, today, IO Interactive said yesterday they were teasing they were going to announce their next project. And obviously, because of the nature of that announcement,
are you? Why would you be excited about this
You
announcement?
shut up. I'm very excited. I'm also hesitant. We'll talk about that in a second. But like because of the nature of the way they were teasing this announcement, it was pretty obvious up front. Okay, this is like their next project that's not Hitman, right? And this morning we found out that it is a working title James Bond game that is essentially going to be an origin story of James Bond. Now, first of all, it's been a long time since we've had a James Bond game. I think it skipped an entire generation. I don't think we had a James Bond game at all on the PS4 or Xbox One.
That is actually correct.
You know what
Yeah,
we didn't have
so-
on the PS4 and the Xbox One?
What?
New Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah,
That's true. That is true.
that's crazy.
So James Bond has been away from the gaming scene for a while, and this is a self developed and published by IO Interactive. And honestly, we were talking about it in Discord a lot today. I've never played, or I haven't touched Hitman, like the new age Hitman games. So
Which are
I
great,
bought.
great
I know.
games.
I know. I bought Hitman 2. It's coming tomorrow, and I don't know when I'm going to find time to play it because we're at the end of the year. But I have plenty of time. This James Bond game is not coming anytime soon. But still, there's reason to be excited. I'm also a little hesitant, trying not to get too
but
excited.
before you get into your fucking Destiny multiplayer thing, I would like to say it's interesting that this is a self-published game. You would think when a game developer is working with the big license that there's probably some big publisher also that's bankrolling this thing, and it makes me think that this might be a more scaled down project. It's not going to be like it's not going to be like the biggest Bond game in the world, right? It's going to be something more manageable, right? Because it's self-published, right? I feel like best case scenario is them taking the Bond license and fitting it onto something that they're really good at, which obviously would be Hitman. Hitman is you're already kind of playing like a spy type thing, right? You just happen to kill a target. That's not so different than playing a Hitman level, but getting a list of people or whatever the fuck James Bond does. What does he get usually?
What do you mean? What does he get?
Some sort of antidote.
I mean, he gets gadgets,
or like a bomb, maybe.
He usually gets weird gadgets.
Got a pin with like a gun in it or something.
No, I mean, like what would be his final objective in a Hitman level?
I mean, usually he's a spy, so it's usually to obtain information, or in some cases, assassinate people.
Okay, so like if this is a Hitman game with the Bond license, that's fucking cool. I don't want them to construct like this licensed game with like a licensed game which has 3 types of level: a driving level, a sneaking level, an action set piece level, and let's mix them up, in a linear story. Like that is like not the kind of game anybody wants. I don't think, at least not from IO Interactive, because they're a talented developer and they do this thing that they do really well.
I mean, the reason you
gameplay
about,
first, not IP first.
The last time IO Interactive actually did a combat-centric game was Freedom Fighters, and
no, it was Kane and Lynch, and it sucked.
Oh God, I literally forgot about Kane and Lynch.
But that was bankrolled by Square Enix, right?
I don't know.
The second one was.
But here's the thing. And first of all, I was flattered because this morning, before I was even out of bed, I was being pinged and tweeted at by tons of people who apparently thought I'm the biggest James Bond fan in the world. I don't know necessarily where they got that idea necessarily.
I mean, you're definitely the biggest Bond mark around here.
Sure. And
Mark?
I was flattered. And I'm excited for this. I love. It's been a while since I've played and enjoyed a Bond game. And I'm not even sure what to expect from a Bond game. Not to mention, we're in kind of a weird situation right now where we're approaching the end of Daniel Craig's run as Bond in the movies, and he's obviously not going to reprise his role as Bond in this game because he's said it a million times. He's done with the role, and that's what this movie is supposed to be, is his exit. So I don't really know what they're going to do with the actual character, but it's supposed to be an origin story. So they're telling a story. So that makes me feel better about the fact that obviously also and coupled with the fact that it's self-published, that this isn't going to be some weird Destiny clone that obviously had me worried, or just some weird, like, here's the thing. I see a James Bond announcement And even if I don't think it's going to be like a Destiny clone, I also worry that it's going to be something more like what's that game? Gotham City Imposters or something, where it's like
I love that
it's
game.
like I know it's a great game, but it's not the kind of thing I get excited about. Like it's James Bond. I want a story. I want a cinematic James Bond type experience with some experimental gameplay. But I don't want it to be some like multiplayer only, which it's very well might be what this is.
It's interesting you would even think that, because that's definitely not what IO does.
Well, it's more of, you said it yourself. This is probably not going to be the biggest Bond game ever made, because probably because it's self-published. So if it's going to be smaller in scope, that does kind of limit what kind of story they can tell or what kind of gameplay experience they can make. And if they're not going to do that, if they're not going to go crazy with the cinematic aspect of it, they could go the route of making it more like something like Gotham City Imposters, which is just the first thing that popped into my
or
head.
like Hitman. I mean, can y'all?
Like,
there's been examples.
They said it's an origin story, which means it's a story. They're telling a story.
What does that
and
mean?
that's obviously centric. It's centric to the concept.
I
Like
mean,
they said, they're telling an
story.
origin story, which means the
Hitman
story is
1, the game from the Hitman 1 for the game from some years ago, is a origin story. It is a retelling of.
I know, I get it. All I'm saying is, it could be something where it's just a multiplayer game with familiar James Bond characters, or it could be a game that tells that where story is kind of at the forefront, and that's what sounds like what it's going to be. My problem is IO Interactive isn't really known for doing great stories.
I disagree. I disagree with you there. When you eventually play the Hitman 1 and 2 levels and you see the story that progresses, like, it keeps you going. It makes you excited to experience the next thing.
That's fine.
Freedom Fighters. That game was lit.
Fuck yeah, it was.
I'm just saying, I'm personally very excited about this news. I bought Hitman 2 because I want to make sure I experience this part of IO Interactive's history before I play this game. I'm just trying to be cautiously optimistic, because this could very well, literally, this trailer we got this morning was nothing but the like iconic, like a bullet being loaded into a gun that turns into the iconic like bullet shooting down the barrel thing, and it said James Bond. Like, that's literally all it was, which could be anything. And it could very easily become something that even if it's good, even like, because like you said, Gotham City Imposters, great game. What I played of it, great fucking video game. But I didn't play it for more than like 2 hours.
It's just weird that that's the first thing that pops in your head. I mean, the first thing should pop in your head should be Hitman. Why is that weird? Right? It should be Hitman, right?
Right. But there's several. We've talked about it. There are several flags here that make me hesitant about the prospect.
If this was just Hitman with a Bond skin, that would be fucking cool.
Yes, I agree.
All right, sure, maybe you're right. See, but also, those games are being bankrolled by a much bigger company. The fact
no, they're not. They're self-published now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
They're completely self-published.
I thought they were still part of
no, they're independent.
2K. Mm-hmm. Was it 2K or WB? I don't remember.
They're
Square Enix studio. Square Enix published
Square Enix. You're right.
Yeah. The reason I brought up multiplayer initially is because, to me, it's been like the biggest missed opportunity for IO Interactive, because stuff like Spy Party, stuff like the Assassin's Creed multiplayer, stuff like Among Us is like a perfect fit for the Hitman formula, for the Hitman universe. And I was like, what if the same could be said about James Bond. The idea about spies being in a place and not knowing who,
and I really
who
hope
is a spy. And if that's what the multiplayer offering is, I think you should be excited about that.
But that's fine. I would be excited about it. But I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't play it. I just wouldn't.
You played Among Us. You played the Assassin's Creed multiplayer.
I did not play Among Us.
Oh,
I barely touched the Assassin. I'm not Nolan and Crispy. I did not play
Spy Party
hours of Assassin's. Dude, I played Spy Party at PAX. That's the only time I've ever played Spy Party. But you're making all this up. I just like, even if I think these games are cool and they're objectively great, I just don't play them. I know what they are, and I don't make time for them. I don't play multiplayer games. It's just not what I had to bend over backwards to play multiplayer games, to make myself play multiplayer games. And I know if this is what happens, if they announce this as a multiplayer game, I'm just gonna be like, great. I'm probably not gonna play it.
You're right. Fine, you're right. It's just so funny
Dude,
that
it's like, dude, think of it this way. Think of it this way.
Of any new video game ever,
Think of it
is
this
like
way, Brad.
you terrified that it might be this multiplayer thing.
Think of it this way, Brad. If they fucking announce this game and you find out later it's an MMO, would you play it?
Okay,
Even if it was objectively speaking a great MMO. I'm just follow my logic here. I'm not saying there's any chance it would ever be an MMO, but if they announced this game and it was like, oh, it's an MMO, and it was like, it's a great MMO, and everybody says it's amazing, would you play it?
If it is a traditional MMO, I'm probably not going to play it.
Nick, here's
that is the exact thing I'm talking about here.
No, but that's MMO is a very specific kind of thing. You're saying if there's another person on the other end of the internet connection, I'm not playing it.
Dude, you're just not following me, dude. With the thought of playing multiplayer games during my free time when I want to spend time playing video games.
I get it. That's not even the conversation. That's not part of the conversation. What I'm saying is, I feel like you can't enjoy any announcement anymore because that's your biggest fear for any video game announcement.
Okay, first of all, I do enjoy announcements. Second of all, yes, that is my biggest fear, and I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic. Why is that?
I feel like now it's popping up in places where it doesn't even really make much sense.
Like what Brad said, it doesn't make sense for this scenario. Think about this, Nick. Because it is self-published, in order for it to have a multiplayer focus, it's got to have that support. Okay?
I know, and that's why we're going too far down this rabbit hole. Y'all are focusing too much on this multiplayer thing. I was literally just saying I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic because I get too excited for things, and then I find out it's like I got so excited for WB Montreal's Gotham Knights, and I'm still excited for it, but man, that came with a big caveat. I still might not play that game because of what it is.
Well, Nick, how about this? How about in other Batman announcements? Are you excited for the Batman Beyond movie announcement?
Wait,
what?
I saw a rumor. I don't know how truth it is. I saw that there's a Batman Beyond movie with with what's his face, Timothy Chalamet someone find it. I saw it earlier. I was surprised people weren't bringing it up more. With Timothy Chalamet as Terry McGinnis and Bruce Wayne is oh my God! Why am I blanking on his fucking name?
It's not real, Nolan.
No,
it's not real.
Who's the fucking
Clint Howard?
No, who's the
Clint
first?
Howard.
It's a rumor, says Lade. Who's the first Batman in fucking Batman '89?
Oh, fucking
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Yeah, that's the rumor I heard. Wouldn't that be fucking amazing though?
It would, Nick, but what
if next week we say, hey, next Thursday we're not gonna do the podcast, we're gonna play like Phasmophobia or Deep Rock Galactic or something? You'd be like, hell yeah, man, let's do it.
Yes, dude, I make exceptions for y'all all the time, but it doesn't mean
play
any of those
Among
games.
Us.
But I'm telling you this, Brad, the chances of any of those games being on my top 10 games of the year is very, very slim.
Well, just because you need to play more.
Okay.
Which I'm not going to do unless we do it in situations like this, you motherfucker. What are you
gotta move on, guys. This is a long podcast and I'm sleepy.
Yeah,
I know. Me too. Brad, I'm gonna let you take the next one because this was you wanted to bring this up. I mean, I know the gist, but it's the Capcom leaks. Let's do that. 4-player minute. We'll wrap up. Sorry, guys, the show's gone long. We had a full doc tonight. Full docket.
So Capcom was hacked. Ransomware attack. Pretty serious stuff. The ethics of I mean, obviously the way this stuff was obtained is really fucked up. There's a lot of like personal information from like Capcom employees and stuff that got taken as well, but
also customers, 350,000.
Yeah, but as a part of all this, we found out a lot about various projects that are working on, that have been worked on, that may be in the works, that are definitely in some form having a conversation at Capcom about in boardrooms and stuff. There's a lot. I'm going to cover some big ones, such as Monster Hunter Rise, which is a Switch exclusive coming to PC also next year. That's a big deal. Including Monster Hunter Stories 2. There's some various source codes and stuff that got leaked. So a new multiplayer Resident Evil. Who cares about that one? A new Ghosts and Goblins title. That's crazy. There's some like old IP that people are talking about. Ace Attorney 7. That's Street Fighter 6 stuff that's, new, exciting, but maybe kind of expected.
Good stuff, Brad. Come on, get to the juicy stuff.
What is in your opinion the good stuff, Nick? Resident Evil 4 for Oculus VR, which is kind of cool.
That's kind of cool, but like at the same time, this is not the Resident Evil 4 remake we all wanted, right?
Well, they're saying this is separate from the remake.
Yeah. There are suggestions that from a reliable source that it is separate from the RE4 remake project.
Okay, well that's exciting. I mean, here's the problem. I already told you this Facebook thing with Oculus Rift pissed me off, and I'm going to be shifting away from Oculus Rift sooner rather than later, probably. So if that game comes out and is exclusive to Oculus Rift, that's going to suck.
I mean, you do know how to jailbreak those games, right? So you can play with other headsets.
I really want.
I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
I really want one of those Oculus ones that you don't have to have connected to anything. The new one that came out.
The Quest.
Recently. The Quest. There's a Quest 2, I think.
Quest 2 is what just came out.
Yeah, I really want one of those just to be able to play like stuff like Beat Saber or whatever, not connected to anything.
Right.
Seems.
All right, keep going down the list, Brad.
Pretty nice.
There's still more games.
So, okay, there's a list I saw before the show that I think might be relevant and might be real stuff. I don't know. It looks like it's real. I'm just gonna keep going. What do you want to say, Nick?
I don't want to say anything. I want you to read the fucking games on the list.
Read the whole list.
You're the one over here saying we're going long.
New game called Shield, Resident Evil Outrage. I don't know what that is. Regolith. I don't know what that is. Dragon's Dogma 2.
That's a big deal.
Rockman Match.
Okay, when you say the names of these games, also include like the fiscal year for these.
No, well, whatever. Everything here is years out.
Several of these are FY24.
Yeah, I don't care if Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming 2024, but if it's being talked about and it exists, I want to know about it. Like that's
Resident Evil 4 remake 2022. Onimusha New Work.
I'm assuming that is kind of reference to like Onimusha, a new game. That's just like a new title.
Probably.
Which could be in anything, but hopefully it means Onimusha 5 because
I wonder what Shield is. So there's this game called Shield and a Shield.
You mean Onimusha 4?
Or that, yeah.
Monster Hunter 6, 2023, Biohazard Apocalypse, Captain Commando, which is cool. Captain Commando is an old brawler, and he was like a character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That was cool. It'd be awesome for him to come back. Final Fight remake, Power Stone remake, New B, Resident Evil Hank. Look, dude, this is all. Apparently, this has come from official places because it's actually coming from the Capcom's actual files and stuff. But
didn't the tentative release window for Resident Evil Village, wasn't that part of this?
It said April launch with a demo before release.
Didn't they say something about VR for that?
They haven't said anything about it yet.
I'll see anything on VR.
I'm going to be honest, at this point, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that would kind of be crazy, honestly, for it not to happen, but
I agree.
I don't know. There's more stuff. Look it up.
But yeah, there's some big stuff.
I think there's actual like art and stuff out there, but you have to look in like seedier places to find that shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Okay. Like I said, I do apologize, guys, if you're listening. We didn't have time to get to questions tonight. We had a full docket and a lot of stuff we wanted to talk about. So we'll make sure we double down on questions for the next show. Again, I think next week, because it is Thanksgiving week, we're going to find a time where we can do a Phasmophobia stream, I think, instead of a podcast next week. So our next show will be in 2 weeks. But now let's wrap up the show with the 4-player minute. Brad, why don't you start us off?
Okay.
If you're ready.
What's the 4-player minute, Nick?
Hype, sweat, fuck, and thank you. Or any combination thereof.
My hype for this week is it's a little weird. Maybe I'm cautiously hyped. For Immortals Phoenix Rising.
It's because you've been playing
trailer that? Huh? I don't know. Maybe it's Genshin Impact. You know, they announced like DLC plans for that, including a like ancient China area place, like, which is kind of funny because Genshin Impact kind of has that. But I don't know. I see footage and I see like a lot of puzzle solving and stuff, and it could be okay. Could be kind of cool. It could be a hidden gem. It has a more chance to surprise us than a fucking Assassin's Creed game or whatever, right? So maybe let this be the Ubisoft game that I try out. Probably won't be as long. My sweat is for.
You really think it's not going to be as long? I think that game's going to be massive.
Immortals?
Yeah.
No, it's not going to be as long as Assassin's Creed. Come on.
Dude,
this is like from a small team. Assassin's Creed's like, what do you
want to make a hot dog
about?
bet? I bet.
You think Immortals is going to be longer than 80 hours?
I didn't say longer, but I would be shocked if it's less than 60.
I'm not so sure, actually. I'll take a hot dog bet on that, even though we've never actually redeemed a hot dog bet.
It's just how the show goes.
You owe me 42 hot dogs.
Hey, guys, I don't know if you realize this.
Time.
There was a doghouse opened up in Austin a few weeks ago.
Oh, like a hot dog place.
Like dog HAUS. The place we went to in LA.
Oh, well, what? That's not.
It's not worse, Kush. It was the other place we went to.
Oh,
that was pretty good.
I don't
Is
care
that
about
the one we went to with? No, with Justin?
Okay, my sweat is for GameFly. They
don't go to restaurants.
They weirdly keep delaying the release of Demon Souls on GameFly, which is strange. They pushed it back a week and then they pushed it back another week. They were purchased recently. That seems like a bad sign. I'd like to play Demon Souls GameFly. I can't really afford to pay for it, but I'd like to play it. GameFly, come on, do your job. My thank you for this week goes to Yakuza fans and fans of April Fool's jokes. It recently came out in I think a documentary about the making of that game or whatever, that the reason that Yakuza 7 has a turn-based combat system is because 2 years ago they did an April Fool's joke and they made it look like a turn-based combat system. It was originally supposed to just be an action combat system like older Yakuza games, but people responded so positively to the joke that they said, fuck it, let's do it. That was when they decided to make the combat system in the new game turn-based.
Happy accident.
Which is fucking hilarious. So bravo to Yakuza fans saying this looks like a good idea, which I was one of those people back then. My fuck you for this week, of course, goes to Genshin Impact. I got my third airplane child. I don't roll characters that often. I don't actually play that much of this game. I'll do my commission quests or whatever. I usually roll like a single roll like a day, maybe two. And my latest new character is Diona, the small child girl who runs like an airplane, just like my other two daughters.
That tweet that you put out where it was just all four of your character screen with the 3 times, I laughed so hard.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. I don't know why. You don't understand. I think there's only 3 of them in the game, and I have all 3.
That's
fate, Brad. Fate.
This really eats at you, doesn't it?
He just wants to play with some hot ladies.
Yes, that's all I want. I want hot ladies, Breath of the Wild. Hot ladies. That's all. That's all I want. And they're like the best characters in the game. That's what's so fucking frustrating. Is everyone's like, "Oh, you got those little girls, those 5-star little girls. You're never gonna find a hot lady that's better than those little girls," and that kills me on the inside because I don't want to like min-max it or anything, but I don't want to use like a hot lady who's way shittier than this little airplane girl. But that's the situation I'm in. Anyways,
the look on Nolan's face right now is
yes, officer. This podcast right here.
All right, Nolan, you
I'm ready.
Do it.
All right, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype it didn't start until this podcast, but I'm hyped for Phasmophobia next week. I'm excited to play with y'all again. I've played it a little bit with chat since the first time we played. And I'm excited to play more.
Me too. We're gonna make Nick a believer. we're not ending that night until it's on his top 10 list.
Yeah.
There you go.
My sweat is for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Kind of worried about that game. We'll see what happens with it. I've put some more time in it. I played some today. Not today. Yesterday was the last time I played. I played some. I'm trying to like it. It's been a while since I've liked an Assassin's Creed game, so we'll see. My thank
for our time right now.
Pardon?
A lot of stuff competing for our time right now.
Yeah, there's the fact that the game is so long makes it difficult to kind of really give it a commitment. My thank is the fact that I got a PS5. I did not realize how scarce they were going to be and how much people are still having trouble getting them. And so I'm really thankful that I was able to get one because I've been enjoying it a lot.
COVID, man, you had to have known. It's crazy.
Yeah, and so kind of going also into that, my fuck you is going to go to scalpers, mainly also just because I've been wanting to build a new computer. And the two components I need, a CPU and a video card, are also the fucking two hardest things in the world to fucking find because scalpers just buy them up immediately and I can't get one.
It's some bullshit.
So I've kind of resigned myself to knowing that I'm not going to be able to build one until probably sometime early next year, like maybe the first quarter. But that doesn't mean like almost every day I'm still trying to fucking look and find the parts. Just hoping that I fucking get lucky one day. But yeah,
cool.
That's it.
Chris Davis.
Okay. My first type this week is for the 007 game. Just imagining the idea of a James Bond sheen on top of the Hitman formula is really exciting. I really want to see what that is. You would have to go careful on the disguises. I don't think you can get that level of goofiness to it.
That's the problem. Is like I want Hitman to go goofier, but if it's got the Bond license, it's not going to be goofy at all.
They would have to exchange the goofiness of the costumes and things like that for the Bond gadgets. I think that's where they would make the trade-off. Like there already a ton of stuff in the new Hitman games that you can find and just unlock that are insane.
Here's the thing:
I think it would work.
If they lean towards like older Bond movies, that would kind of make up the difference, I think, with a little bit of the goofiness, because it's a little more lighthearted, a little less serious. But we're also at the tail end of Daniel Craig's Bond run, which is obviously a very, very popular take on the franchise, and that's kind of what's hot right now. So I don't see them doing that.
Yeah. My first sweat goes to Watch Dogs Legion. I've put 40 hours into Demon Souls, and in between breaks of I can't stand this anymore, I need to do something else, I've been playing Watch Dogs Legion, and I'm really not just playing the story or doing anything. All I'm doing is walking down the fucking road and looking for characters I can recruit. And obviously, like Brad, I'm looking for ladies.
But dude, it's your Genshin Impact. This is Tom Clancy's Genshin Impact. You're not even playing the game. You're just trying to get characters.
Honestly, that's
Tom Clancy's Genshin Impact.
That's what I
can't find
log
quality.
On to Genshin and roll a character.
I can't find quality characters. It's really annoying. Like I want them to have at least two skills.
Chris Davis, are you looking for little airplane girls?
No, I'm not.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. As someone who's played 25 hours of Watch Dogs Legion and may not go back to it, I'm going to tell you this. If you're looking for, I'm sorry if this sounds wrong, if you're looking for hot ladies, you're not going to have much luck.
Their character generator algorithm that they made is not
Gamergator over here.
That is bullshit, Brad. Don't.
I at least want like one action grandma I can storm into fucking Scotland Yard and just mow everybody down with. But
wait, you're looking for
I have not found one.
Dude, all the grandmas. The thing is with the grandmas in Watch Dogs Legion is they don't have the ability to crouch or dodge or run very fast at all. So it's like
I know, I love that. I think that's hilarious.
It's hilarious, but good luck.
And on the flip side, like there is a surprising amount of people that are just doomed and could die like anytime. Like, just like what the fuck is going on in London?
quote unquote no hot ladies in Watchdog Legions. Hashtag thanks Anita Sarkeesian.
Oh my god, are you fucking
No. Nick, edit that out. Edit that out of the final version.
Oh my goodness.
I would not be upset if Nick did.
My third thing is a hype/sweat. A few weeks ago, I really shit on Star Wars Squadrons.
You did.
I really shit on that story.
Again,
I think the story is shit. I think the gameplay is great. And they announced that the game is actually going to get updates based on how popular it's been. And the really cool thing about it is that they're adding 2 new craft. They're adding the B-Wing in, and of all things, I could not believe they're bringing in the fucking TIE Defender. The TIE Defender was in one game, and it was TIE Fighter, and it was the ultimate craft that you got in that game, and I fucking loved it. It was so fucking cool, and they're adding it to this game. Like that's
TIE Fighter. That was the game that was on your GOAT list, right?
Yes, it was like my number 10 or number 9. But yeah, it's like whole to include that in this game. Like that's a love letter to those classic fans. I love that.
What you call it. That's what you call a deep cut.
That is a fucking deep cut. Jesus Christ. And my fuck you this week is going to go to all the Souls fans, including Jaeger, that's going to watch the video back and look at my stats and just send me tons of notices on Discord and Twitter to tell me just how wrong my build is. How dare I play a fucking Souls game?
The game is easy.
Stop invoking the anger of Souls fans.
I invoke their anger by being within the proximity thereof.
All right.
Yeah, you can make them happy by just watching a couple of Vadi videos, Chris.
They're pretty good videos.
All right. My turn?
Yeah,
yes.
Go for it.
My hype goes to... So we just had our projector and stuff installed upstairs. The room's almost ready. We've watched a couple things up there. It's great. But Tenet is finally coming out on Blu-ray in December, and I'm going to watch it on a home theater system. So it's going to be almost like watching it in a movie theater. So that's pretty cool.
It's like what was the first movie theater?
What was the first thing that you watched? And it better not be fucking Dexter. It better not be fucking Smallville.
It was the Mummy.
No. It was Supernatural.
We did the Mummy. We did the double feeter. Of the Mummy.
He did mention that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I watched a couple episodes of Dexter up there.
God damn it.
We also watched His House on Brad's recommendation.
Whose house?
In the middle of our street.
His house. I also watched Terminator Dark Fate. Not bad.
That's not a bad movie.
No,
it got a bad rap.
It's pretty good. It shook the foundation of my house, which is what I wanted. It's pretty good. My sweat goes to 007 for IO Interactive for this. All the reasons I mentioned earlier. I'm very, very, very excited. I want to know more about the project before I get too excited. If it is story centric and mixing in the elements of like Hitman gameplay, I'm fucking super pumped. But I want to know more. I'll do another hype. Cyberpunk 2077 is less than a month away, and we had previews today based off of 16 hours of gameplay from people who in the press, and from what I read, seemed pretty positive. Obviously, they made reference to it's kind of buggy in certain places, but they made it seem like it's probably a good thing they delayed it again to squash some of those bugs. But some of the stuff I was reading about, like the city and the way that combat works and the way that missions unfold, seems really exciting, and it kind of started getting me hyped again. So I'm pretty pumped. And my fuck you of the week is another Castlevania fuck you. This time, last week it was the stairwell. This week it's the clock tower. Fuck that place.
Medusa heads.
Dude, fuck Medusa heads.
The trick with Medusa heads, Nick, is to get good.
I fucking knew you were gonna say that. I just don't get hit.
That's the magic of Dusa, by the way.
I got so angry at that game. I cut my stream short like by an hour and a half, 2 hours the other night. I was just pissed. But somebody, I forgot who it was,
snapped when the meowing started,
Yeah, I was pissed off, and then Maggie walked in and started yelling really, really loudly, and I just lost it. I lost my shit. I lost my shit.
I didn't know that cats could laugh at people.
She felt how upset you were, Nick, and she was trying to vocalize it.
Nick, the trick was you turn off Castlevania and you start playing some fucking Bugsnax, man.
Dude, I'm gonna download Bugsnax tonight.
Or just play a good game.
Like Bugsnax.
Okay.
Talk about Bugsnax.
Both of those are great games.
All right. That's going to be it for our show tonight, guys. Again, I'm sorry we didn't have time to get to questions tonight, but I hope we made up for it with lots and lots and lots of impressions. It's a good time to be playing video games. So, again, next week, no show. We'll do a Phasmophobia night again. That was a lot of fun. And we'll get a chance to maybe dive deeper and learn some more about the game, especially now that Nolan's an expert. He's played a bunch of it. So it should be a good time. So tune in for that. And we'll get back to podcasting again in 2 weeks. And who knows what the fuck we'll be talking about then. But we hope you'll catch us then. In the meantime, check us out on Discord at discord.gg/4Player. And if you want to support us financially, go to patreon.com/4Player. We have a new Cyberpunk 2077 video out now where we recommend games to maybe get you in the mood for Cyberpunk stuff.
We recommend 4 pretty good games.
There's 5 games total. We recommend 4. So check it out. It's in the video on YouTube and on 4playernetwork.com. In the meantime, be safe. Wash your hands. We'll talk to you guys later in Discord, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
Have a nice Thanksgiving. Goodbye.